And the topic has been brought up multiple times before. So we're going to discuss it today. We're going to see if we can get some straightening done. This may, depending on where it goes, may need to be a two-parter. We may do that. But like I said, that depends on where the conversation for today goes. All right. So we're going to be addressing the half FBAs. What lane do bi-ethnics fit in? Okay. And this is a very interesting and peculiar question because we have a lot of people who have dual lineages, which is not their fault at all. It's not your fault if you're half FBA or half non-FBA and half non-FBA. It's not your fault if you're not FBA whatsoever. Okay? That's not your fault. Okay? The way you were born and who you were born to, where you were born, it has absolutely nothing to do with a decision that you made. We judge you based off of the decisions that you make. That is it. And that's the only way you should be judged. You should only be judged based off of the decisions that you make. That's it, and that's all. All right. So we have some very solid ride or die half FBAs, and then you got some half FBAs who are completely treacherous to their FBA side. All right. But we have to address this because their position is very dangerous. Okay. Because a lot of them hold vitriol to their FBA side of the family. Okay. We can look at examples like Candace Owens. Now, Candace Owens goes around and she denigrates Black American culture every single chance she gets, or at least she used to before she tried to do this rebrand thing, which is what she's trying to do now. If you guys didn't know, Candace Owens is slightly attempting to do some like soft boot rebrand, which is why she's laying off of all of the anti-Black statements and propaganda. But we all know that is what she's mostly known for. All right. So we're going to hold her to that. We're not going to let her back out the door now that her and Ben Shapiro gotten into it. But when she was at her peak, she was known for pushing and peddling anti-Black lies, narratives, and propaganda. All right. Now, what's very interesting about this is that Candace, she does have a FBA side and she also has a Caribbean side. And Candace on her own YouTube channel has admitted that she deliberately stays away from saying anything that is negative about Caribbeans, not just her Caribbean side, Caribbeans in general. She avoids speaking on Caribbeans in general in a negative light. She admits that. She admits that she has a Caribbean bias, which is interesting because she doesn't have a Black American bias. She will throw Black Americans under the bus without question. Okay, she denigrated Juneteenth. She denigrates Black culture. She denigrates hip hop. All of the people who've lost their lives to the police. She's on the front lines defending the police, rationalizing and justifying that. But we see that there is a bias for her Caribbean side. And this is something that we see too often when it comes to bi-ethnic people, that they tend to have a bias or dual allegiance when it comes to their non-FBA side, whether that's half Caribbean or half African or even half white at this point. You can see the situation also with Wes Moore. Wes Moore's father, allegedly, because the jury's still out on that, but for the sake of the argument, Wes Moore's father is FBA. He's a Black American. Wes Moore's mother is a Jamaican. Wes Moore was raised by his mother. He said that several times. Okay, he's openly admitted to that. And you can see that Wes Moore has a bias towards immigrants in the Caribbean. Wes Moore identifies openly as a child of an immigrant. Okay? And you can see where his loyalty lies in his decision making as far as his policies and legislations. All right? Even also Amanda Seales. Amanda Seales is also bi-ethnic. Her father is a Black American. Her mother is from Grenada. And she consistently identifies as a Grenadian woman. Okay? She consistently identifies as a daughter of an immigrant. Okay? And her loyalty and allegiance lies with her immigrant background. Okay. So we got to address this, because then when we having conversations, they want to be the first people to speak up on our behalf, even though they identify and have allegiance to an immigrant and foreign background. They want to come up and then they want to speak on our behalf. They want to, have their cake and eat it too, and live pretty much on both sides. We can't allow that anymore. And we have to address this, because if they have an allegiance towards their immigrant community, whether that's from whether that's from the African diaspora, or whether that's some non-black side, if they have an allegiance towards that, that means that they're going to be an impediment when it comes to us addressing things. We've also had people, when we discuss issues with the diaspora, we've also had people who are bi-ethnic, and they'll come up and then they'll be all like, well, I see the issue on both sides. That's not true. Okay, not true. Black Americans are not equally as problematic as tethers are to black Americans. That's not true. But you see, there's a reluctance to correction when it comes to bi-ethnic people. They want to 50-50 the situation. They don't want to go that hard. They don't want to push that line when it comes to they don't want to push that line when it comes to their immigrant side of the family. Okay, so we're gonna have to address this. Does this mean that every single one of them, all of them, are like this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We got some solid. Okay. We have solid half FBAs. Okay. Malcolm X was half FBA. His father was foundational Black American. His mother was Grenadian. Okay. Frederick Douglass was half FBA. His father was YT, and his mother was black. And nobody speaks negatively on those men. And we have many other examples we can pick from. Okay, even today. So what we're saying is that,
What about the boys?
wait your turn to speak. You'll speak. What we're saying is that we can't label everybody with we can't paint everybody with a broad brush. But we do have to address the fact that when it comes to them, half FBAs, there's a specific lane. That's why I said this right here. There's a specific lane that they kind of need to stay in, because there's a high probability of a bias popping out. There's a high probability of them not wanting to push the line where it needs to go, because their heartstrings are too attached to their foreign side of the family. And that's just what it is. If we want progress for the group, then we are going to have to address the fact that too many of them have shown biases. Okay. So there needs to be a lane for them to stay in, for at the very least, until they are tried and true, and until we have seen consistent reputation, and until we've seen consistent loyalty. Okay. But we got a lot of people who want to speak on this subject, so we're going to get the room started. I appreciate every single last one of you all. If you guys could do us a favor and tap the screen, let's everybody tap the screen, and we'll get this conversation started. Thank you. BX, can you go ahead and set the decorum of the room?
Yes, and you know what else, Afro? I just got my shipping label, so I'm waiting for my shirt so I can wear it for the African American parade. We know we don't like the name, but for now, that's the name, and I got to go with it. Okay. So when you request up and you're allowed on the panel, immediately go on mute. When directed to speak, please lead with your ethnic group, your age. We do not do pronouns here unless you want to volunteer that, but that's not a requirement. We ask that you keep TikTok friendly language only, so please use words like strange fruit, grape, unalive, schmurda, self-deletion, hard candy, greenery. Also, if you see that orange heart, well, you're going to see it, right? That orange heart by Afro Elite's name, click that and complete the daily mission. so that it can help him in the algorithm and also in the rankings. Also, take your claim points so that way it can help you with your journey in his fan club, and they unlock new, little characters and stickers every level you pass. I want to go back to the ethnic group now, right? Because it's a
Hmm.
little bit of a misunderstanding.
Hmm.
We understand that we are a black race. However, we go by ethnic group in the United States of America. So, my ethnic group is African American slash Black American, but I culturally identify as a foundational Black American. What that means is that my ancestors were found residing here during the emancipation period of 1863 to 1865, and they're indicated on the 1870 census. I
Hmm.
understand that there were free people here, so please don't say, well, we're enslaved. I know, I get it, and I do know the American Indians were here too. So I'm talking about you. If your family was here during the emancipation period, then you are of the lineage. If you are not of the lineage, then you are your parents' country of origin, meaning if you have two Jamaican parents, then you are Jamaican American. If you have two Haitian parents, Haitian American, Nigerian American, Ghanaian American, Eritrean American, so on and so forth. Yeah, like the topic says, addressing half FBA. So if you have a Jamaican parent and a foundational Black American parent, then you are a bi ethnic, right? You can say that you're bi ethnic, and then Afro will ask you where does your family come from. We expect an honest conversation so we can get to the heart of the matter, because I know there are some questions from our bi ethnics. So let's have a good discussion, and I think I covered everything, right, Afro?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to let people know, hold your thoughts, hold your opinions. Everybody gets to give their question or statement or whatever. Don't cut people. Don't interrupt, don't interject unless you are the host, the co-host. That's me for the culture. Okay, that ZZ's operating for the culture, and then you have BX, who's the mod in the room. Okay. Besides that, please no interjecting. It can make somebody lose their train of thought. You will, if you're on the panel, you will get a chance to speak, but you have to wait your turn. All right, you have to do that. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and we can get the room started. ZZ, do you want to say anything opening up?
Yeah, for sure. By ethnics, I do think they have a space. Their voices should be heard within, within our spaces as far as FBA culture. But like you said, there has to be a balance. There has to be some checking done because some of these people, you can't, that dual allegiancy can be harmful to us,
Hmm.
especially because a lot of these other cultures that they may come from, they might have a lot of anti-black vitriol or rhetoric that's spread throughout their culture, and that's taught to that bi ethnic child. So they do have to be vetted. And I know some people want to just bring, oh, Martin, I'm sorry, not Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. A lot of you niggas ain't Malcolm X. Okay, so we're not about to sit up here and act like everybody is that. Okay, he was one of our greatest revolutionaries. We're not comparing all of you niggas to him. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you can't be as impactful or get to that level at some point. We just have not seen that from any ethnics since him. So yeah, I respect it, but they definitely it has to be monitored because again that dual allegiance can be a big problem for sure.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That's very true. There's a lane, and we got to discuss their lane. Okay, because in my opinion, as of right now, their lane shouldn't be in the front. And because, and I will give an example for that, because their lane shouldn't be in the front unless you got like a super solid. The reason why Malcolm X was able to do that is because Malcolm X didn't show that he had some type of dual allegiance. Malcolm X never in his entire life showed that he had some dual allegiance where he was putting Black America second to or equal to any other group or any other country. He's never shown that. Okay. A lot of bi-ethnics do show that dual allegiance. All right. And because now that we're seeing, like you said, that we haven't seen another Malcolm X since then, now that we're seeing that, there's a high probability of you guys having dual allegiances or you guys not going as hard not to offend your other side, then we gotta operate the way we need to operate. But we can get the room started. We can get the room started. Basic, brother, how you doing?
What's going on, y'all? What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, man?
So as far as bioethnics, I believe is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. I believe that the most grace should be given to the bioethnics who were born at a specific time. Like when we speak about someone like Malcolm X, that's when we were pretty much operating based on race and not ethnicity. So personally believe that those people get my grace because of what was happening within the culture. But now with us basing it on ethnicity and lineage, I do believe that moving forward, by ethnics shouldn't have top priority like someone who is full FBA as far as like positions of power and things and just influential positions in the community. I believe that of course there may be some exceptions somewhere down the line, but just in general, like if you have your full lineage is FBA, then you should clearly be prioritized in the community. Now, I know that that may be problematic to some people because some people think that, even now with everything that's going on with FBA and the rest of the so-called black race, that it's still okay to be, dealing with people outside of the lineage. I don't believe in that. I believe FBA needs to be with FBA. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I'm going to judge you, especially now, because I feel like if you are with someone, let's just throw an example out there of Jamaican descent, and that means that your child is going to have that influence. You know what I'm saying? Like if these people, if let's just say their Jamaican family don't like Black Americans, that influence is going to be on their child, and it just brings room for us to be undermined by someone that we would consider FBA just because they have one parent that's FBA. So I think we need to look at that. A lot of people may not like it because we have this thing where we feel like it could be divisive or something. Me personally, I don't care about all that. I just care about the integrity of our people and the protection of our people. So I see it as that. I think you need to have two FBA parents moving forward from this day forward. FBA needs to prioritize being with FBA and having full FBA children. That's all.
All right, thank you. Let's get to Marquise. Marquise, you can unmute yourself. All right. Okay, Marquise is not here. Let's get to Reverend Dr. Jimmy. Damn, that's a long name. You put your whole thing in there. Reverend Dr. Jimmy, you got it, brother. Can y'all hear me? Like, what's going on? Okay.
I can hear you. Well, if they're not answering and you have other people that's in the queue, then go ahead and drop them, right?
Yeah.
They're taking up space.
Yeah, that's true. Maya Flair, you got it.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm bi-ethnic. I'm half Black American, half Jamaican. My dad's side is the Black American side. I do agree with what's been said so far. I do think there needs to be moderation between the people who have a cultural difference, because there is a lot of differences there. Growing up in two different worlds, you tend to see that. The reason why I push more towards my Black American side is because the Black American side is more organized, and I mean like politically, and wisdom of this system that we currently live under that affects all of us. I do think that Black Americans should full Black Americans should be pushed into the forefront. I have a list here of things that I'm writing down because I'm also trying to make sure I keep myself in check because of my internalized biases that I may have, because of my partial identities to each of these cultures. I do think I do a good job of doing that. because I'm so precise. I think that the people who have a precise understanding of the culture should be allowed to speak on certain things, not everything, because again, they have dual allegiance to two different groups. So they also have to go back and forth to make sure they preserve the other side as well. I'm not emotion because I realized that this is something that affects us deeply. I have no emotional dysregulation towards it. I've centered myself and grounded myself to understand why full-blooded Black Americans would want to have this mindset. So there's no negative emotional reaction. Americans would want to have this mindset. So there's no negative emotional reaction. Only the bi-ethnics who do not understand why Black Americans would feel this way, they are detrimental to the cause because they're emotionally charged and emotionally dysregulated. They're not understanding their position in this world. When you're bi-ethnic, you are split between two worlds. They don't want to acknowledge the cultural differences, the genetic differences, the just the honest to God differences, whatever it may be. And that's a problem. And for Black Americans, because I really do love my Black American family, they taught me a lot of things in this lifetime. For Black Americans, because I really do love my Black American family, they taught me a lot of things in this lifetime. I be sensitive towards them and towards the lineage itself. People like me, and I do not ever want to deter Black Americans from what you're saying because I agree with you. I think you should go that way. People like me, we're in a crossroads for sure, but we are in our own class. Your class of understanding what's going on is to preserve the Black American lineage, whereas the dual identities have to protect both groups simultaneously. So we do not have the same struggles and we do not have the same histories. That's where the respect comes in. Having respect for Black Americans as a bi-ethnic group is critical to existence of both groups. Because what I've learned about Black America is that Black America is willing to stand up in the midst of any storm. So if you go against Black American lineage, you're going to find struggles down the road because it's counterproductive to growth. So I just really agree with what you guys have been saying, and I do want Black Americans to protect your lineage. It's not something that's a joke. These other people are very emotionally charged, and they really have a problem with you being at the front, which you've been at the front, which has gotten us so far. And I do not understand why they do not want to see you continuously be at the front, but it's not a competition for sovereignty. They don't understand that. They don't understand how slow of a race this is and how far ahead the Black American race is, because you are a race of your own. They don't want to acknowledge that as well. If you're not at the front, we all lose. So bi-ethnics do have an obligation to step to the side to allow for fully blooded Black Americans to speak. And if they don't, push them to the back by force. And this is coming from a bi-ethnic myself. If they're not willing to listen to you, push them by force to the back because they're detrimental to all of our growth. I land my plane there.
Thank you. Afro Lee, the chat really, I wonder about some people's comprehension skills. Are they here to really listen and learn? I mean, like, can y'all be serious for a moment? And at this stage in the game, I think FBA has been talked about enough that y'all understand it's a lineage. It's annoying sometimes. But I'll go ahead and mute up. I just don't get some people. But thank you, Maya, for your contribution. I'll go on mute.
Yeah. And the thing is that unfortunately, and it's not their fault, but just unfortunately, this is the case when it comes to bi ethnics. It's strongly the case when it comes to biracial people, but it's even so found in bi ethnic people as well too, where they feel kind of don't want to use the term lost, but rather they feel misplaced or out of place. They don't really feel that they fully belong anywhere, especially if both of their cultures are in their life. Like, for instance, if you grew up solely with Black Americans, you'll just lean 100% to that side. If you grew up solely with the other side, you'll lean that way to the other side. You know what I'm saying? So they feel kind of in between, and that kind of confusion and that misdirection can kind of create a sense of turmoil that we see, where we see a lot of flip flopping, and we see a lot of I'm loyal to this side, but I'm loyal to this side, but I'm loyal to this side, and we can't really. There's too many problems with that. That's why a lot of people, like you said, are very emotional. They want to be in the front, and that's it's just not proper for them to. And I understand and I can sympathize with the fact that they feel like they can't be in the front of either side of their family because their FBA side says that they shouldn't be in the front, and then their non-FBA side says that they shouldn't be in the front. So they feel like they can never fully be in the front of either side of the family. And I can have sympathy towards that. I can sympathize with that. The reason why that's the case is because when it comes to accurate representation and just representation, you need somebody fully of that lineage to do that. That you need somebody who's fully of that lineage, and that's the way representation needs to be. You can't have somebody who's half of that lineage. Not that they can't be beneficial, not that they can't be helpful, but for example, the debate with Amanda Seals, she was debating about reparations. One of the people she was debating about was a full Black American. Now, Amanda Seals is half. He went on YouTube. He has a big YouTube platform. He went on YouTube and he was all like, hey, how you going to say something about the Angolan guy not being a Black American? You're only half. I'm a full Black American. So what makes you be able to say anything to me? So technically he pulled rank on her. Even though she was wrong, even though he was wrong, he pulled rank on her. And that's something he couldn't do if I was in the room. If BX was in the room, if ZZ was in the room, Basic was in the room, he couldn't do that if we were in the room. He can't outrank me when it comes to the lineage. You know what I'm saying? So, if there's a lot of people, he couldn't do that, but he can do that to Amanda. You know what I'm saying? So there's an order in which things need to go. You know, and this doesn't mean that you guys are not useful. It doesn't mean that you guys are not beneficial. You guys have a very beneficial position. Your lane is very important, you know, but your lane is just different. Your lane, the lane that bi ethnics need to be in is different. It's important, but it's different. All right. Let's get to Gentle T. Okay, it seems like ain't nobody trying to really say nothing. Let's come on now.
I
Let's
got something to say, brother. I
yeah,
got
let's get to
something to
James. You
say.
got it. You get it, James.
Yes, sir. Thank you for addressing this subject. One of my parents is from Guyana, which is South America. One is from Georgia. And, I understand why FBAs feel the way they do. A lot of immigrants come over here. They
Hold
feel
on, you gotta
that
mute your mic. You gotta mute your mic, brother. As you're coming up, y'all gotta mute your mic. Go ahead, James.
yes, some FBAs, I mean, some foreigners come here, black foreigners, feel that they're better than African Americans. So I do understand what FBAs feel, even though I'm right there in the middle. I represent both groups because both were important in my life. But what I don't understand is when do we say we need to unite. Because if you look at Malcolm X, he was one of them. One parent's from the Caribbean, one African Americans, but he had children, and his children had children. So when do the immigrant blood run out? When do we continue to separate ourselves? You know, I
Mm.
mean, if you look at Farrakhan, both of his parents was from the Caribbean, but
Okay.
he fought for Black Americans. So where do the separation go?
Okay.
When do we?
I mean, the thing is that that's a kind of different conversation because the thing is that unity and being bi-ethnic or whatever the case is, they're not the same thing. You know, when you bring up Malcolm X's children, Malcolm X was only, to be very honest, a quarter Ghanaian because his mother was half YT. Unfortunately, it wasn't her fault, but unfortunately, that's the case. But even if we say she's Ghanaian and he's half, Betty Shabazz was a full Black American. So that would make his children Black American, even if we just want to go by percentage. They were not raised with their a quarter of their Ghanaian side of the family. They weren't raised by that. They're Black American. Malcolm X's children are Black American. Okay, I mean that literally is what the situation is. You know. Now, when you talk about unity, let me ask you this question: can you define what unity means to you? What is unity to you?
Well, I mean, to me, we all look the same. I mean, if the enemy was coming towards us, he's not going to separate us, saying, "Oh, that's a Jamaican right there. He good."
Okay, but let
No,
me
no,
ask
no,
you a
no,
question. Hold
no,
on, brother. Hold
no,
on,
no,
brother.
no.
Hold on, brother. Because I need because you're saying that we should unify. So I'm asking you, what does unity mean to you? And the reason why I'm asking is because everybody who comes up and says, "Don't you think we need to unify?" They can't define what unity means. What does that mean?
I mean, it's not separating ourselves from each other. I
Okay.
mean, it is
So
no
okay, so
difference.
not
I
separating.
mean,
So
I mean, if we look the same,
do you not
and
think
if we go
hold
ahead,
on.
brother, go ahead, brother, go
Okay.
ahead.
You said half of your family was what?
From Guyana,
From Guyana.
yes,
Do Guyanan people and Jamaican people look the same?
yes, to me they do.
Okay, let's say that they look the same. So should they not recognize that there are different people from different islands and different cultures and stuff like that? Does looking the same mean that you ignore all cultural differences?
I feel like we could celebrate the differences together.
Okay, yes, yeah, there's differences. Okay. Why does unity, and I'm asking you this question because you brought it up. Why does unity mean ignoring differences? Why does unity mean acting like we're all the same people? Why does unity mean that?
Well, we can act like we're different people,
No, it's
but
not acting like you're different people. We are different. We're different. We have a different history, different culture, from different lands, different custom. We're different in many different ways.
well, I mean, we came over on the same slave ship, though, brother.
No, but you just acknowledged that there's a difference
Mm-mm.
between Jamaicans and then what other group was
Guyanese.
Guyanas.
You're
You
right.
just acknowledged that there's a difference. So there is a difference.
And
Why
they
I
does
don't
mean,
look
why does
alike.
saying
the
hold on brother,
difference.
hold on brother. Why does
Mhm.
saying unity, you're saying unity and you're asking for us to dismiss our differences or ignore our differences. Why
we
is
don't
that?
have, we don't have to ignore our differences. We don't
Okay.
have to ignore it. But I just feel that we shouldn't understand that. Like I said, I understand FBAs recognizing who they are,
Mm-hmm.
um, and how they are different. Understand that. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, while we here in America, we're in
Mm-hmm.
America, we do have a lot of similarities.
Okay, now you're saying unite. We have a lot of similarities with other groups of people. I mean, other groups of people
Right.
have yes. So what you're saying we should in particular unite. What does that mean? Again, this
To
is
me,
the last
to
time I'm
me,
gonna
to
ask.
me, to me, unity is just coming together, recognizing differences, but aiming for the same goal. Because if you really think about it, brother,
Mm-hmm.
after 2 or 3 generations removed from wherever they are African Americans.
See this. This is
Denied.
why. This
Oh
is
my
why.
God.
This is why. Hold on,
Hold
No,
everybody.
no, no,
Stop.
no.
Stop.
on,
Don't do
hold
that.
on.
Don't do that. Everybody mute up. Stop it. Okay? This is why we stopped that word. This is why we've retired that because of the confusion right there. Now listen, I'm gonna let some other people get a chance to speak. This is not gonna be a conversation with just me and you going back and forth. But
I
I will
appreciate the
hold on,
opportunity,
listen,
brother.
James.
I appreciate
James,
it.
listen, hold on. I want you to stay up here, but I want to
Well,
say this, and this is why I keep asking what unity means. When people talk about unity, 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 it took a long time for us to get to this point. The thing is that we all do not have the same agenda. And this is something that we have to acknowledge. Even if we acknowledge the fact that we're different or whatever the case is, being different does not mean that you can't unify with somebody. Having different agendas mean that you cannot unify with somebody. You cannot unify if somebody's going left and the other person's going right. You can be different and both of y'all go in the same direction, but the problem is not the fact that we're just different people. The problem is the fact that because we're different people, we're going in different directions. That's the problem. All right. And you're trying to say that we should dismiss the fact that we're different and essentially be blind and ignore the fact that they're going in a different direction. No, we cannot do that. We can't ignore the fact that the direction that we're trying to go in, they're trying to go in the opposite direction. That cannot be ignored. No. All right. If we was to go to Guyana, whatever direction the Guyanan people are going in, that's the direction that we should be following in. If they come to this land, they need to be following in that direction. All right. You're talking about when do we unify? You're asking pretty much for us to acquiesce to other groups of people coming over here. That is not the way it goes. Okay, when you come to somebody else's nation, you need to follow what they're going, where they're going. You need to follow their direction. Okay, what you need to be doing is you need to be going to the Guyanan people and saying, what do we need to be doing to get on Black America's page? Black America does not need to acquiesce, slow down, hit the brakes, compromise for anybody else's comfort. All right. It's not about us having unity with anybody else. It's about us going in that direction and them following that direction. That's what it needs to be. That's where it needs to go.
I
I
jump in
understand,
here.
All right,
brother.
hold on. BX, let's let
James,
BX go ahead.
James, okay, so I need everybody to hear this. If a person migrates to America and has a child, they could never be African American. I don't care if that child then has a child with a foundational Black American. That first generationer can never be African American for the simple fact that it's a reclassified term for those who descend from chattel slavery. What James exhibited is a form of erasure, and that's what we're fighting against. And I get it. Right? You come here, they lose their culture or they assimilate in and refuse. I blame some of the parents. I watched a video of a lady saying that her Caribbean family said Black American, that she was lazy, dirty, and disrespectful because Black Americans were that way. How is she Black American if the household is Caribbean? Y'all got, so I want to say that. I want to calm down so this could be a good discussion. You have to understand that some things are forms of erasure. That's why when I set the decorum, I said to be an African American / Black American and culturally identify as a foundational Black American, you have to find your ancestors here on this land, the United States of America. We do not do the Americas. The United States of America between 1863 to 1865 and found on the 1870 census. We're standing on our lineage. Those people who migrated here and had children and now those children are up to the third generation did not have a hand. Their ancestors did not have a hand in building this country. They were not disenfranchised. They did not face Jim Crow. They did not face redlining. They do not descend from ghost towns on this land. So we
I,
gotta understand a distinction has to be made. I love bi ethnics. Black Americans, for the most part, will take on a biracial child. They'll take on a bi ethnic child, but then it's up to us to let them know the difference, right? So we accept everybody until you show y'all are off code. When y'all are off code, we have to issue some straightening. And so I need y'all to really understand it's a erasure. We cannot unify because the Caribbean has delineated ever since they were allowed to migrate into this country. And I'm going to tell you how. So even in diverse places, what they did when we couldn't buy homes, they were able to find white people to sell them the homes. So I get it. They had an advantage that we didn't. But when they had the chance to extend the courtesy to us, like, here, help, thank you for fighting for us to get in this country so we can have this opportunity, they locked us out of home ownership. That disparity still exists till today. In our government, Yvette Clarke is actually securing wins for the Caribbean based off of Caribbean lineage, right? There's no wins for foundational Black Americans, meaning anything that foundational Black Americans are allocated could be siphoned to other communities. They are now winning Juneteenth scholarships. Can I go win a Caribbean scholarship? I can't. So we have to understand that there will be no unity until they learn respect. If they have things specifically for them, be respectful. You don't need to double, triple dip and then lock us out and monopolize our government. And that's not specific to the Caribbean because the Africans do it too. So tell me, if we have a congressional Black caucus, right, that's supposed to fight for all Black people, but their mission statement say, and marginalized groups, but I could find a Caribbean immigrant caucus, a Haitian immigrant caucus, and I could find the African immigrant caucus. And most of them say they deserve the same things that African Americans got. How? The hardest thing they did on this land was turn on a light bulb and study all night for a degree or something. There's no blood in the soil from them people. And then when we have things specifically to fight for them and us, they have things just to fight for them. Who's advocating for foundational Black Americans? Because the last time I looked, my representatives are in online crying about the immigrants. So when you say unified, James, Afro Lee is perfectly correct when he says you have to go to your Guyanese who do not look Jamaican because Guyanese got more of a Indian type of look. Okay, so they have to decide how did they drop the ball. These other groups dropped the ball. And I mean politically. So y'all gotta come together and find out how the West Indians could be. They erased us out of Labor Day in New York City. One man gave a whole history about the Caribbean, one man, and didn't even mention the Pullman Porters. So these are the things that the Caribbean does.
I
That's
understand.
Hold
I
on, hold
basically
understand.
on.
what
I
Hey,
we're
understand.
whoa. Okay. There's a lot of people who want to come up. There's a lot of people who haven't spoken yet. So right now I'm going to put a timer on some people. Zizi, do you want to respond real quick? If not, I'm going to let some people uh, um, respond or say one thing or whatever. I'm going to put a timer so we can start, keeping the room flowing. Okay. Basic. If you want to, you can say something in a second. I'm going to just see. Uh,
Yeah. Right quick, because I'm gonna let you go ahead so you can do the timer. But I think unity. As soon as he said that, I already knew where this conversation was going. I feel like unity is the new code word for erasure of Black American culture, because what it feels like is that these people want to unify with other groups to come together and erase our group. This is what it's feeling like. We know that we need to. We are the spearhead of unifying Black people globally. So you don't need to come to Black Americans and tell us who we need to unify with anybody. We know that. We're showing you how to unify. So for him to come in here and say that, it's like if anybody else, because usually they say the same thing. For y'all to come in here and say that with a conversation like this, it's disingenuous. Like it's very telling. It's a red flag, and I already know where you're going with it. And we're not about to play that. Oh, I didn't know the game. It's just my ignorance. You people know what's going on. You know that we are very much the glue of pro-blackness. So please don't come to us with the disingenuous. Oh, we just want to unify. No, because you want to be an African American after second 2-3 generations of being here. That's not unification. So these people know. But I digress. You can go ahead.
Yes, and this is what I'm saying. Why I asked several times, what does unity mean? What does unity mean? What does unity mean? Okay. Because what you defined is not what we need to be doing. Okay. If that is your definition of unity, of us essentially ignoring what's in our best interest under the guise of unity, then it won't happen. Let me see. Basic, you said you wanted to ask a question real fast, right?
Yeah, I'll make this real quick.
Or make a statement rather.
Right. So the dude said something about, we all look the same and we all are the same. And that's not true. You have an interview where Muhammad Ali was talking about how during the time of segregation, when Black Americans were not allowed to be in certain places that was owned by YT people, he talked about how Africans were allowed to be in those spaces and they accepted being in those spaces, even though they knew that we weren't allowed to be there. So there's always been a difference. YT people know the difference. Clearly, they know the difference because they are getting rid of a lot of y'all now. And y'all have known the difference for a long time, and y'all have moved in that same way. Right now, these people are talking about merging with us, and they have intentions of merging into our culture, into our inheritance. So if you have land or anything like that in your family's name, you need to be with FBA. Do not let these people come over here and jip you out of what your lineage has worked so hard for, especially my people who still have property and land down south. These people are aware of what we have. So be mindful of that. That's why I said moving forward, we need to be with our own people because they're exposing themselves in these comments right now. They are exposing themselves. So there is no reason moving forward that FBA should think about intermarrying or procreating with these people. I'll land there.
All right, I'm gonna drop you, bring some more people up. Thank you, Basic.
I
Uh,
say one thing. They said numbers matter, right? And to segregate by ethnics is crazy. We're not segregating by ethnics. We're establishing a code and what's to be expected. But I'm going to tell you, foundational Black Americans have always been outnumbered. With numbers, we don't do so good. Why? Because y'all are here undermining us. See my profile picture again. Those are all the vibrant, thriving Black towns we had that was destroyed on this land that we fought and rebuilt and we keep rebuilding. We don't migrate out and displace the people. Y'all were not here during these times. We did it on our own. So that's another talking trope, Afro Elite and
mhm.
ZZ and Simon. We need the numbers. What has numbers done for us? Since y'all been here, we can't really get what we need accomplished. Because when we thought it was just YT, we didn't realize who YT helpers were. Stop saying numbers around me.
Okay, let's get to. Thank you.
Can I say
Let's
something?
hold
Can
on.
I say?
We'll get to Mayflower, and then we'll go ahead. Because you said you wanted to, I guess, make a statement real fast. So we're gonna do that.
Yeah,
We're gonna go ahead, bring people up.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead. Go
so
ahead.
so with me being biethnic, as I'm listening, I'm very this James. I can't believe you came up here and said what you just said. Unity cannot happen amongst groups of people if there is a need for competition or a need to be better than or to cloud the accomplishments of another group. Black Americans don't deserve that. I don't understand why there is a desperate need to compete. It's just like, wait, what do you want to, what are you trying to unify when Black Americans already set the standard and set the stage for every other group? If you look at the history of Black Americans, political powers today in modern time 2025 use Black American standards of how they fight, whether that be by boycotts, which is economic strain, which that be by social boycotting, which that be by legislation, are using these standards today to shape the modern world. They already set the stage. For you to sit there and say unity, they already set the stage for unity. It's up to these people, which they've disappointed Black Americans. They came here and participated in a genocide against the people who liberated them around the world. You don't get to say unity is supposed to be had when they already tried that. And this is coming from somebody who has two parents from two different cultures. You don't get to do that. And this is where the frustration is coming from. Because you're not understanding the history and the global impact of what they've done already. They already did the work. They're tired of everybody at this point. This is what happens when you get tired and burnt out from doing all the work. They've already done all the work. What are you trying to get your group to do to
Mm.
fix the bullshit that's happening around the world? They already fixed it. But you people come here and unravel it. It's not fair. You don't get to come here and unravel the hard work that they put in. And it's not fair to try to separate Black Americans from their homeland. This is their homeland. Africa is not Black Americans' homeland. I don't give what you guys say. They're not connected to any other landmass around the world. This landmass that everybody wants to bombard is theirs. They are heirs of this land, and to say, "Oh, we all got off the same ships," you just, man, you are so behind,
Yeah,
and
but let
this
me
is the
jump in.
problem.
Let me jump in real quick. This is why I kept asking, like I said, this is why I kept asking exactly what does unity mean? You know, because if you was to come up here, what you should have said is what can West Indians do? What can the Caribbean do to be of better assistance to Black Americans since we're in America? That's what the question you when you said the thing about unity, that's where you should have went with it. What do we need to do to be of better assistance to you guys? How can we
But
help you guys? How
like
can
you
no no no
forgot
no no no
Mother
no
Georgia
no no
too.
no no James, stop. James, that's
My mother
enough.
from Georgia. My
No,
mother is from
James,
Georgia.
James, stop it. Don't do that. That's where you should have went with it. But when people talk about unity, I can instantly tell whether they're being genuine or disingenuous based off of how they answer what unity means and what do we need to do to accomplish unity. That's what unity really should be like. Okay, when you go to a person's land, you need to get on their page. That's how you unify. What you're trying to get us to do is you're trying to get us to compromise when it comes to the interest of the Caribbean, when it comes to the interest of people outside of the lineage. That is not unity. That is us falling back. That's not the way things need to be. That's not the way things will be. We're not going that way. All right, we're not. Thank you, Maya. I got to get some more people up here, but I appreciate you. Let's get to Gentle. You got it. I'm not saying she can't come back up, but I definitely want to keep the rotation smooth and rotating. Gentle, you got it.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say, man, I just think the whole panel, the whole topic is a blessing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, sometimes, things people do that, others say that that's a curse, you shouldn't do that. That was the best thing, I think, coming into his present, and I don't like the guy, I'm just saying his presidency, Trump did was ban ABs. You know what I mean? Because the value of a BLK American is so valuable. I don't think half of us even recognize that. They don't even, and just like the gatekeeper said, you guys are stating they trying to take it away. If you really look at it, they don't even give us that option on applications. You either Caucasian, Hispanic, or BLK, African American. They won't even give us the choice on an application. Why can't we just be Black Americans? What we are. My mother was born here. My grandmother was born here. My great great grandmother was born here. We just from this land itself. They force us to claim that land.
Mm.
I have so much to say because I know it's so many people
want to talk. That's just the most important part I want to say. They have already taken it away. They don't even give us the choice when we filling out a freaking application. And I land right there.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, let's tap the screen. We got a lot of people in here. We have hundreds of people in here. Everybody, let's tap the screen. Everybody tap the screen. Don't make me have to turn the comments off. We got to get the screen tapped, okay? Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get to Coco. Or Coco's basket. At the bottom, Coco. All right, well, Coco's not here. All right, then that's fine. That's cool, then. Let's get to Simon, brother. You got it.
Beautiful day to the family. Um, Thanks for having me on stage. I am a full Black American, both sides. Um, I think when it comes to the unity thing, and I think this is just an angle that some bi-ethnics should look at, and I mean this respectfully, but Black Americans and other migrating communities, we're not fighting the same battle. And that's why we can't unify, because we're literally not fighting the same battle. Black Americans are fighting white supremacy in the land that we built.
Mm.
White supremacy is a very expensive organization. It's very expensive. Like, it's not cheap to fight. The difference is other melanated groups, they're not fighting white supremacy. I mean this respectfully. They're fighting poverty. A group of people that is fighting poverty is different from a people that is fighting white supremacy. Poverty in psychology, the basic needs of any human is water, food, and shelter. You can't even have a cortisol level high enough for you to focus on fighting white supremacy if you haven't um, accomplished those basic needs. So if someone is still hindered by food, water, and shelter, well, guess what? That person is now a pawn for white supremacy, because a loaf of bread, peanut butter, and jelly. If you drop a pound of oxtail, that person is now going to stab Black Americans in the back. And once again, I mean this respectfully. Black Americans are the richest melanated group on the planet. We're the richest melanated group on the planet. Okay. We are actually rich enough to fight white supremacy. Unity will not happen until the men of these other countries actually stand up and make and fight and make it safe for people not to have to leave those homelands. And that's what a bi-ethnic person is fighting in between. Without them actually understanding that that is the true battle. You have one half of your family that is fighting poverty, and you have the other half of your family that is literally fighting white supremacy. These are two different things. Now, moving forward, that's why I do like what Maya said, because Black Americans have been fighting white supremacy, and we have uh, stayed in stride on the economic side. We are rich enough to do so. And this is why by ethnic, depending on which parent they were brought up by, may lean to one side or the other, but that's really what it boils down to. If you're in the United States and you are on the immigrant side more, well, you're going to be able to realize where a lot of poverty infrastructure issues are in that person's homeland. Here in the United States, yeah, we're not perfect, but we have the lowest poverty of all melanated people. We only have a 15 to 17%, and we're fixing that. The issue is we thought that, and that's what our elders didn't realize through Pan-Africanism and doing all this other stuff. We didn't never calculate the tribalism that comes with poverty. This is why other tribes don't like each other, because of one tribe, like an African tribe, one more resources than the other tribe, or another tribe starts raising and power than the other tribe, they're all that's the real crabs in the barrel. Black Americans are not truly any crab of any barrel. We're not in a barrel, but we
Yes,
put
I'm gonna
ourselves
let
there
you,
because we thought we could unite under the skin tone.
Simon. I'm gonna let you
I'll lean,
land.
yeah, I'll lean. So and I lean with that. Yeah, I just wanted to I want bioethnics to think about that, and people who keep bringing up this unity term. This
Hmm.
unity term, it won't work when that group is fighting poverty, because food, water, and shelter is a weapon to somebody that's trying to, get out of that predicament. And I'll end with that.
All right. All right. Yes, that's what I said. Everything you can be aligned unless the agenda is. You can be aligned if you're different, but the thing is that our difference is the agenda, and that means that we cannot be aligned. Okay, it's like oil and water; it can't mix. Let's get to at the bottom. Let's get to. I think. How do you pronounce your name, sister? Ain.
Are you talking to me, Lynn?
Yeah, yeah. I'm talking. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's a L. I thought that was. I don't. It's
oh, that's
hard for me
okay.
to see. Lynn. Okay, you got it.
Okay. Now I thought the topic was very interesting because my kids are half, and I've never thought about, you know, how they would feel or where they fit in.
Mm-hmm.
So, the topic caught me. But what I do feel like is they were born here, they were raised here, and they have been to West Africa where my husband is from, but it's always been a place to visit. They've never struggled there. So I think it kind of depends on where you brought up also.
Mm-hmm.
Because my husband and I, we agree on several things. Like, for instance, we were having a conversation the other day, and I was like, you know what? Y'all have no business in our politics. And he was like, I agree. He said, it would be like you going to my country, and all of a sudden you know what's best for my people. So I think it's all of where you brought up at. But, for the gentleman who said that we should not procreate, I was a little bit offended because I have four wonderful kids and a wonderful husband. So, and I land there.
Well, maybe he's in the room and he can clarify exactly what he said. I don't want to speak on his behalf. Everybody gets a chance to on our lives. Everybody gets a chance to express themselves. Thankfully, though, your husband is respectful to Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, and your children will understand the importance of their lineage here. Okay. And this doesn't mean that they need to ignore or dismiss their lineage outside and of America, but they
Right.
are in America and they do need to understand the importance of being an American, and they need to understand the importance of their history, lineage, and struggle here. So if
Exactly.
if their father can respect that, and that's a good thing. If he can
Uh,
respect about that fact, then that's a good thing.
yeah, he does, and I know it's not every foreigner. So, because I do know plenty that do not respect it. So,
Hmm. What
that's
country
not
is
that
your
I don't.
husband from, though?
Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like I say, there's struggles. My kids have never went through their struggles. In Sierra
Hmm.
Leone, there's always been a place to, let's go visit. 2 weeks, we come back home. So it's always been like a place of vacation, more or less for them. But they are aware of what's going on. My husband tells them what's going on in the country, and we watch the news. And
Yeah.
but it's never been their struggle. Their struggle has been what they experience here. So therefore, when I ask them, they're like, "Oh no, we're FBA, because this is the struggle they know."
Hmm.
But it's not that they, don't claim the other heritage in the other side of anything. It's just that was never their struggle.
Delaney, can I say something? Because
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
Yeah,
on,
sure.
hold on. We're gonna have to, because there's some people who haven't spoken yet. BX or ZZ, do you all want to jump in? If not,
Yes.
we'll move on
So,
to the hands.
what Basic was saying is that the children of before who are born, by ethnic, he's not saying they should have never been born. What he is doing is advising FBA at this time, given the what's come to light and how we see the collective, right? Hasn't stood in alliance with us. It would be best to date, marry, and procreate with other foundational Black Americans. So he's not saying anything like your kids shouldn't have never been born. It's just that now we can look at the government. We can look at the mindset of the Jamaican lady who said, "Don't unalive her, unalive a Black American." We could look at other things and just say that these people aren't for us. For me, honestly, I can agree with him, right? And I have bi ethnic children. Here's the issue. We can have individual relationships with other groups, but we can't be, I don't want to say stupid, but we can't be put to sleep that just because we may marry, date, and sleep with somebody of a different ethnic group, that collectively their people are for us, because history has shown their people aren't collectively for us. So I think that's the mindset that Basic was speaking from. And I agree with him. You notice people, for me, they hear that my children are bi-ethnic and wonder how I could stand on FBA business so much, not understanding that FBA made me who I am, right? I had an FBA father who raised me. I did have a father in the home. He worked his hardest to send his daughters to Catholic school, and we never went without a meal. You get it? So these things, I got bodies in the South and plots of ancestors. So just because I was raised in the North and may have dated, married, had children with a Caribbean man does not mean that I'm Caribbean. And I think that the other ethnic groups expect us to continue coddling them. But those days are over. I would do a disjustice to my ancestors, who I love very much, if I went ahead and allowed them to be erased. They contributed too much to this land and to the world. So, no, no, for
Okay,
me,
I want to thank you. I want to thank you
you're
for
welcome.
explaining that on his behalf, because
Yeah.
it did come off as offensive. He gave no background on his statement. He just kind of said it and disappeared. Well, I think he got put down for somebody else to talk. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I agree 100%. The majority are not for us. Heck, the majority of my husband's family don't even like me. And
Yeah.
we've been married 30 plus years. But I'm okay with that, because, that's what I expect. So, I do get it that the majority of I'm just looking at the majority of Africans or whatever that I know are not necessarily for FBA people. So I
Unfortunately.
do agree with that.
Unfortunately. Um, but that's why there's a subtitle here. What lane? Because there is a lane for them. It's not like we're saying that they shouldn't exist or they don't belong in the community. There's a lane, but there does need to be order. If we are to make progress in the community, there needs to be order. We need to establish order. So that's why we're having the conversation. ZZ, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'm definitely all for keeping it in the family, only dating FBA. I definitely want to marry a foundational Black American man. I'm trying to have my household be only FBA. But I do think if you are going to do that, like BX said, there you do have to have that understanding of the anti-blackness you're going against. You may be marrying into, and how that will affect your children, and moreover, how you're going to guide your children through that, because maybe you do know that, but your children do go back to South Africa or the Caribbean, whatever, once or twice a year. And they're still dealing with that when they go over there. So you do have to learn how to combat that, or teach them how to combat that, and still keep their stand 10 toes on their B1, like FBA-ness. So that is a challenge within itself. That's not something I would want to sign up for. So, I'm definitely trying to marry somebody FBA, but tease down.
All right, let's get to appreciate y'all. We're gonna have to cycle the room out shortly because we got a few people who want to come up, and I definitely want to get some of the voices heard. I want this to be a full-fledged discussion, okay? Because this is a very serious topic. But before we continue with anything, we gotta get the likes up. Everybody gotta tap the screen so we can get these likes up. You know, we got hundreds of people in the room, so let's get the likes up, y'all. We can do this. Come on, y'all talk about unity. That's some unity. Getting the likes up, that's unity, yeah. Come on. All right. So we'll get to let me see. We'll get to Sweet Tea, and then we'll get to Randall.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I just wanted to just address the issue in terms of the half your thing that says addressing half FBAs. I think a lot of it just really, is based on which parent raised them. I mean, they may have been raised by both parents,
Mhm.
but I think it's just going to boil down to how they're raised. If they're raised to think that one side of their family is better than the other, then definitely they're going to be probably more pro that side. So if their Caribbean side is, more anti-Black American and they kind of hear that talk around the house, that's what they're going to lean towards. That's my opinion. If they have a FBA family member that, really talks about FBA lineage a lot and appreciating that, I think they're going to lean more towards that. But they can also just, be taught to embrace both sides of their family, but also understanding the struggles of Black American people. Because I'm full FBA. I do have family that are bi-ethnic. And I can honestly say that one of my family members is actually half Haitian. And she does not speak Creole. And the Haitian people do not even accept her as being Haitian. So I think that, or being half Haitian. So I think that, they, just like white people, when you have biracial kids with a white person, with a white T person, it's almost the same thing. If anything, it's almost worse because they're growing up looking at the fact that, wow, I look like these people, but they're not accepting me because I don't speak the language that they speak. So that's something that a lot of people may not be aware of. But in the Haitian culture, if you don't speak Creole, they could care less if you have Haitian blood in you. They will not accept you.
Yeah.
I've heard it come from someone's mouth that we don't accept that person because they don't speak Creole. But also, the other thing that's been disturbing lately is I've been hearing a lot of Caribbean people say that their ancestors built this country. I've been seeing a lot of that on TikTok. And I don't know where that's coming from. They're saying that they've been here, that they've helped also build this country, that Black Americans aren't the only ones. They're saying that they built New York. It's just crazy. And I just really feel that they're trying to erase our lineage. They're trying to erase us as Black Americans. And they're trying to, everything that we do or we have done, it's like they want to insert themselves. And I do think it is a competition. They are in competition with us. And I just think that until that can get fixed, I don't think there ever will be any unity. That's just my opinion. Until they realize, respect us as Black Americans, I don't think that it will ever be any unity.
If anybody wants to ask a question, you guys can request to speak. The panel is the best place to ask your question. Okay, not the chat room. If you're asking questions in the chat room, I'm just gonna have to assume that you're being very disingenuous. Okay, which further validates our point. But before we continue with anything, I think we could do a little bit better with the likes, y'all. Come on, let's do a little bit better with the likes. We ain't even at 50K. We've been up here for the last hour or so. We've been up here for a little bit over an hour. We can get to the 50K. Come on. All right. BX, you wanted
Can
to
I?
add in something, and then we'll
Yeah.
go to Randall.
I want to add in about the Caribbean. So what they're talking about is when they were allowed to migrate here. Well, remember we were on a quota system, and some came around maybe the early 1900s. That's why you'll see Marcus Garvey here during a certain period, right? But those numbers were only 100,000. But at the time, we were about four to 500,000, right? So we predate the United States of America. personally in my family in New York, because the Dutch had their hands in enslavement in the North, New York, New Jersey, Philly. So what they're doing is erasing those people whose bodies were the first on Wall Street, those bodies who built the infrastructure of New York. We also participated in New York and in the Southern cotton thing. New York did not want to really join the Union. They didn't want slavery to end, but they just emancipated their enslaved population first. But New Jersey emancipated their slave population after Juneteenth in 1866. So those Caribbeans are talking about the 1900s and not the 15, 16, 17, 18, and early 1900s. They are a lie. We built
Okay.
this land. But also, I got to say this: the intra-America slave trade. There was the I guess they call it the triangular slave trade, where from New York they would take ancestors and take them to the Caribbean. Some came back to New York. Some stayed in the Caribbean. You are where your ethnogenesis happened. So unless they have a personal connection to the intra-American slave trade, they ain't built ish here. They ain't start migrating here until the early 1900s.
Hmm.
So BX, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So thank you for that, because that gave me more context. So were there any Caribbean people here during like chattel slavery? Because I don't think there was, right?
No, no, not unless they were, like I said, the intra-American slave trade. But there were no Caribbeans over here. They were being enslaved and going through their own form of oppression on their island. So I don't understand why they're doing this. I think that they're feeling left out of a lot of things, and they do feel like this is their home, but it's actually not. Especially if they have a green card, right? So if the borders are up, the borders are up. So I don't care if you find your ancestors here in the 1900s, that's still not the 1870 census. You are
Exactly.
an immigrant and you can go to your homeland. And in Jamaica specifically, if they find that they have a Spanish bloodline, they can get citizenship in Spain. They don't have to come over here and harass us this way. But New York, we do outnumber them in New York. I hear people say FBA aren't we not here. We are here. They just have the machine behind them. The machine is the media. So when we have things like Juneteenth or Black History Month, the media, News 12 specifically, spotlights the Caribbean, including the Latinos, and that's just very unfair to us. But we're working hard here in New York to change that. So they can say what they want, but we're documented here. And we predate the country, even in the North.
I noticed that there's an
Okay,
African
but we gotta
American
get to.
parade coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll let you land, but we got to get to the next speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's get to Randall. You got it.
Hey, what's up? I'm 100% FBA. I'm out
Hmm.
of Brooklyn, New York, and I want to speak to unity. But as far as what the sisters were just talking about, what Caribbeans contributed here and built here, I'm calling cap on that. You can go back and find photographs of Brooklyn actually from the mid to late 1800s, and you'll see. Downtown Brooklyn, in fact, the area where the Barclays Center is, and you'll see the elevated train tracks and even the subway going underground. These foreign people had nothing to do with that. They had nothing to do with that. But in terms of unity, and this goes to all foreigners from the Caribbean, the African continent, and even those Hispanic and Latino ones. Unity, because the host had asked this guy about unity and what it means and stuff like that. Unity is one of us got 30 cents in our pocket, the other got 70 cents in our pocket, and we come together and say, we got $1. That's unity. Y'all folks ain't willing to do that. And the sister illustrated that when she mentioned the housing situation. Like I said, I'm out of Brooklyn, New York. I was shocked when I moved up into Westchester and saw this huge Jamaican community in Mount Vernon, you know, living in decent homes in Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, in that area, in those areas like that. Y'all not willing to say, well, you got this in your pocket. Y'all got that in your pocket. Let's come together and do that. You guys are not willing to do that. You foreigners, you're not willing to do that. So how could there be unity?
That's a good question. Sweet Tea, thank you. I'm gonna invite somebody else up to come up because you're asking a lot of questions in the chat room. So I want you to come up and ask your questions so we can answer them. All right, but yeah, we can't do this. No, we're not doing that because we have realized that we're unfortunately not all on the same page. You can't unify if you want to go one way and they want to go another way. What you all need to be doing is you guys need to be following behind where we are going, what we are doing. But y'all don't want to follow anybody's lead. All right. So you can't get upset when people don't want to be in the same room or share the same space, allow you a platform or elevate you if you're trying to go your way. This is not your home. This is not the land you built. This is not the country you built and made. This is not your struggle. You've inserted yourself in somebody else's nation, somebody else's home, and somebody else's struggle. So the most respectful thing to do, the proper thing to do, is to fall behind the lead of somebody, the lead of the natives here. That's the only thing you can do, to be honest. Okay. For those who don't want to come up, y'all saying y'all at work, y'all doing a lot of typing to be at work. I don't know what y'all doing. Y'all, you work from home or something like that. Y'all at work, but y'all doing a lot of typing. Y'all on the thing a lot. So quote unquote be at work. This is very interesting. Don't get in trouble. That's all I got to say. We'll get to Sulan Almighty B1. You got it.
Yeah, so this might be a hot take, but I personally think that we should just actually delineate, meaning like we from now on we need to stop explaining. People already know what delineation is. People already know that we have a unique identity, but people want to pretend like it's not to try to muddy the waters. I think it's time to us to start getting together and actually trying to move things forward. Like I think that we should form some type of petition to make the U.S. government recognize us as an actual ethnic group. Now they technically have done that through the 2030 census form, right? They've put us as African American, right, under the black category. But if you look under that category, it says black or African American. So technically, they got this weird thing going on where a Nigerian could be a Nigerian African American. So it's like it's still kind of funny in that way. But yeah, I think that we should petition to get our own ethnic group and put it in parentheses like you have to be the descendant of these people to get it. I think that we should try to reopen the Freedmen's Bureau, reopen the Freedmen's Bank. Like we need to just stop even talking to these people about, because I'm coming to the conclusion that they only want unity when it's about, if you notice, when they're talking about unity, it's always when it's money involved. Like it's always about cultural things when it's money involved, right? Like Essence Fest or hip hop or something like that. So I don't think it's about like actually sticking together as a people. I think it's about access to markets and culture and being able to write their story into the American ethos. So I don't. What I'm saying is as messed up as it may sound, I think we like the idea of unity. I think we need to put that on the back burner for right now, and we need to focus on the things that's happening in our culture, happening in our community, and we need to fight for our own people. And that's just how I feel.
All right. Let's circle things back. And yeah, we do need to make sure that we disaggregate numbers and delineate. But let's kind of circle back to the prompt a little bit. Do you have anything to say about half FBAs and their lane when it
Yeah,
comes
I
to?
don't. I don't have a problem with bi-ethnic people at all, as long as they don't. When my only problem is when people disrespect the lineage. I don't have any problem with honestly any ethnic group, right? But once you start talking about our lineage and our ethnic group, yeah, I'm gonna have a problem with it. But yeah, as far as a lane for bi-ethnic people, I think that I don't think that we should treat them any differently, right? Until they give us a reason to. You know what I mean? I think until they give us a reason to treat them different, I don't think we should treat them differently.
All right.
That's my take on it.
Okay. Appreciate
Hey
that.
Afro,
A
I'm a
lot of people sitting up there talking about they don't want to, they ain't coming up because they at work and they on their lunch break. Y'all been on y'all lunch break for an hour and a half. Y'all need to get back to work. If y'all at work, get back to work. Y'all on the phone. Y'all been on the phone typing your fingers off for an hour and a half. Talk about some lunch break. You ain't on no lunch break. Don't lie. Come on now. Don't do all that now. Simon, you want to say something, bro?
Yeah, just real quick, because when it comes to the lane, the lane I feel the bi-ethnic should have is if you're a bi-ethnic, you're half Black American, foundational, and you're half whatever, you then now have to look at the land you live on. You live in this United States, where then you go full force foundational Black American. That's just it. But if you want to go full force St. Louis, what Trinidad, Haiti, wherever you from, you need to now uproot yourself and move over there because you need to support the locals of where you're living now.
Mm,
Um, Malcolm X supported the locals where he was living, and he did a great job. Great example of a bi-ethnic man, um, with some heart. Uh, so that's a lane. The lane should be you operate on the land that you live on with the natives of the land you live on, and I don't think that should be too hard to understand. And I'll lane with that.
it shouldn't be. It's very simple the way things are supposed to go. Coco, hold on, because you
Can
didn't say anything the first time.
can
So
Simon? There's some. People have concerns about the African American title and stuff. Can you tell us about band real fast?
about who?
Band. We have a new ethnic identifier, so we don't have to use the African American term, and the goal is always to remove it, not let the immigrants have it. And Simon is a lobbyist who helped get a new classification of Black American Negro descendants of freedmen, and it's also attached to an ACS code. So if you are Black American and you descend from freedmen, you don't like African American, you do have options. California just won the right to disaggregate. So the Caribbean they're different. And no matter how much they say they built America, America doesn't see it that way, and they have to indicate that they are foreign descent. And California won that right with the SB 515 bill. So just because y'all see us on this app talking, a lot of us are lobbying and activists in real life. See how that works? So stop getting on our nerves, please. It wouldn't lead to this if y'all would have just marked the other box, like the Mexicans used to do. Y'all not fighting for nothing, but to migrate into our ethnic group, and it doesn't belong to y'all. So now, since y'all want to abuse the term African American, plus it's a misnomer, that will be taken away soon too. But we are winning self-identifying categories. So I just wanted to put that out there for the people who are concerned about the immigrants marking or identifying as us on paper. And Simon was instrumental in that. So I wanted him to say it, but I guess I just did. I'll land.
Thank you.
You're
All right,
welcome.
let's get to. Hold on. Let's get to burnt.
What's going
Burnt.
on? Oh, hey, what's happening, man? FBA,
Good,
Los
bro.
Angeles, California, 51. Addressing the half FBAs. Check this out. Y'all know who Jim Clyburn is, right? He
Mm-hmm.
full FBA, right? So I kind of agree with what Sulan was saying in terms of until proven otherwise, if you're in the correct lane, then that means that you're down with the cause, right? We can look at the difference between Jim Clyburn and Rachel Dolezal, and I'm not trying to be funny. Rachel Dolezal, who was not at all, was doing more fighting in terms for FBA than a Clyburn would do. But nonetheless, that's something else, right? Now, the other thing was like I think I heard somebody, some of the Dominicans or other people in the text saying that what I mean. We built this, we built that. Nobody's denying the contribution that what I mean. Caribbeans or people like that may have had to the United States of America, but it shall not usurp the primary contributors to America, right? Just like we don't go to the Caribbean or any other places to try and usurp your movements, right? Another thing that, and I think somebody versed this was, and I'm going to land after this. Another thing that you have to understand about the immigrant that comes into the United States of America, right? They don't have a legitimate redress of grievance against the United States of America, right? So naturally, they are thankful to be here, right? They are thankful to be here, so therefore they're going to go along to get along. And the white power structure understands that, right? Because they know that when you're dealing with foundational Black Americans, right, we got legitimate grievances, that no, we're going to push back against. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And I'll land right there.
All
Thanks for
right.
letting me up.
Appreciate that. Everybody tap the screen. Now we got to 50K, a little bit over 50K. Now we can get to 100K. Okay. We've been on here long enough. Everybody, if we just do a mass liking of the live, we'll get to 100K in the next uh, few minutes. Okay. In the next few minutes. So let's everybody. We got a job to do. Striving. You got it. Or Zizi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say I do kind of like the idea of like innocent until proven guilty, but I do think it can be a little problematic, especially with so many of these tethers specifically learning new ways or trying to identify. BX was just talking about the African American identity thing and things of that nature. So I feel like it can get a little complicated. I think we should check them at the door, but that's me.
Yeah, everybody got to go through a screening. Everybody got to get their paperwork checked. That's the
Zizi,
only way we got to do it.
why isn't Zizi on camera?
I've been getting ready for work.
Oh, okay,
My
no
bad.
problem.
All right, Striving, you got it.
All right, man. Can y'all hear me clearly, or am
Yeah,
I
yeah, we got you.
okay? All right. So I wanted to speak on a couple things real quick. First, like the other guy just said, whenever people talk about unity, why can't it's never about no money? You know what I'm saying? Like how these people come over here and benefit monetarily. Where's the reciprocity? Where's you know what I'm saying? Let unity be based upon reciprocity. You know what I'm saying? Y'all coming over here, y'all eating off us. What's something that's going on in y'all culture that we could come that we could eat off of
Mm.
and monetarily benefit from? As far as the bi-ethnic thing, man, from my personal experience in real life and on social media, a lot of people who are bi-ethnic, I've literally had people in my personal life that I found out was bi-ethnic by just conversation, because otherwise they don't even they don't even identify as being Black American. They
Mm.
identify with their foreign, whatever it is, whatever their foreign, quote unquote foreign side of their family is. You know, I just recently found out somebody that I was real like I was real close to, that I was cool with. I mean, I'm still cool with that person, but the whole time that I known her, she told me that she was Trinidadian. Only after, you know what I'm saying, becoming familiar with this, standing on lineage business, did I, start conversation and find out that her father was Black American. Um, and uh, from what I've seen on social media, a lot of times these people who are bi-ethnic, they tend to have negative point of view, like negative ideas about their Black American side of their family. Even if these individuals and just the even if these individuals are raised by Black Americans, if that upbringing was what they perceive to be negative, like for example, if they have a Black American mother and they perceive that Black American mother to be loud or something like that, or you know what I'm saying, a quote unquote ghetto, they can still come out with having a negative disposition towards being Black American if you know what I'm saying, based on that experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with the people on the panel who came up um that expressed their opinion that we need to focus on and stand within our own ethnic group. That people who are bi-ethnic needs to be uh evaluated, because it's been famous people, not famous, but quote, people who are known on social media who used to say negative things about Black Americans. Okay, it's been people on social media who are bi-ethnic who used to say negative things about Black Americans, and then as soon as FBA became like a thing, they switched their rhetoric up.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you gotta be mindful of that as well. So and nobody should feel any kind of way, because every group of people has the right to preserve the integrity of than each individual ethnic group. You know what I'm saying? That's not to speak against anybody who, you know what I'm saying, go out who go that route.
Hmm.
But to ask a question to you, based on everything that you've learned, you know what I'm saying, dealt with being in this space, what would make somebody who's bi ethnic, okay, what would
I'm gonna
make
let you land. I'm
somebody
gonna let you land your plane.
no, yeah, I'm trying to form, I'm trying to get this question to you.
Hmm.
Like, what would make the difference between somebody who's bi-ethnic and biracial? Like,
Well, the is the difference between somebody who's biracial, by definition, just literally means two, means more, it just the number two. Okay. Biracial means two races. You are a person of two different races. Okay, so the word biracial means that either you are black, one side is black, and then the other side is non-black. The other side is YT. The other side is Asian. The other side is something that is not black. That would not be considered under the racial category of black. By ethnic means you are of two different ethnic groups. That means your parents are of two different ethnic groups. You can be the same racial category but be by ethnic. For
okay,
example, one of my
let me rephrase that, because I think I just said it wrong. Okay,
okay.
you know how we see, like, you know how we perceive uh divestors. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So I'm saying, given the negative disposition that you've seen so many foreign black people have towards black Americans, what would be the difference between black people who are quote unquote labeled divestors, and people who uh date or who go you know what I'm saying, who mess with people in the black diaspora?
One moment, I got
Like, you
it.
know what I'm
I
saying?
got it, Afro. I got it. Pan Africanism and acting, being pro black, right? Because I don't want to date outside my race, I'm more likely to date a Jamaican. I never liked the African. But that's the difference. We're still for the black race. As a foundational black American, I'm still for the black race, right? But it was a different space and time, correct? We were heavily under Pan Africanism and we championed everybody.
Hmm.
So if a man was attractive, but he happened to be a Jamaican or a Haitian or a Trinidadian, this is not dating outside of my race. So there's a difference between a divester and a person who dates out of their ethnic group, but still dates within the black race. We were still pro-black. Today, given the light and the new information that has come to our attention for people like me who do have bi-ethnic children, I would not go forward and date a Caribbean or a Trinidad, a Jamaican, a Haitian, a Trinidadian anymore.
Hmm.
That's what it is, sir. I'm not divesting. I'm not getting in bed with the Europeans. I was for the black race, and Jamaicans. The Jamaican man that I was with is a black Jamaican,
Yeah.
Afro
Let,
Jamaican.
let me add on to
Yeah.
that, and then we're gonna move to some of the other speakers. Everything that you do is a reflection of who you are as a person, your character as a person. You got to unmute your mic, or mute your mic, because there's a echo sound. So every decision that you make, everything you do and everything you don't do, okay? This also includes dating. This also includes who you are in a relationship with. That is a reflection of who you are as a person. That is a reflection of your values and what you find important as a person. All right. So a lot of people, Basic was talking about that we should be focused on our lineage, be focused on our own ethnic group or whatever, because that reflects his values and his beliefs. All right. But to equate the dating a European versus dating somebody who's from Africa or dating somebody who's from the Caribbean is not the same thing. That's not the same thing. Dating somebody from a different race is not the same thing as dating somebody from a different ethnicity. All right. Now, this isn't to advocate for either or, but this is to say that we shouldn't I think we start losing the plot when we start viewing bi-ethnic or interethnic, I suppose you would say, relationships as a interracial relationships. That's starting now. Now we're starting to lose the plot a little bit. Let's reel it back. We can be pro self, but let's not go above and beyond. Let's not go overboard with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, and
They
this
have
isn't to say that
disposition,
you
then what's the
can't
difference?
have a preference for your ethnicity. This isn't to say that, but framing it as that's an equivalent of dating outside of your racial category. You're dating a European. That's not the same. That's not the same.
Elite Afro, I will agree with you completely. Because actually, foundational Black Americans, many of us are first generation ex Pan Africans, and like Sister BX said, um, if we didn't stick it out with our own ethnic group, we wasn't breaking the rules of Pan Africanism by going
Mhm.
with another melanated group. So yeah, but now with the updated information, I think that's what Basic was saying earlier. It's just moving forward. Like if you ain't been with your person for the last 3 years, last 5 years, it will kind of be how you say it, advantageous if
Advantageous.
you
Yeah.
it'll be advantageous if you move along with your own ethnic group. And
Yeah.
that's the grace. And I'll land with that.
Thank you. And we can get to 100K. We can get to 100K, and then we can start wrapping things up. We got to get to 100K before we wrap things up. So let's get to 100K, family. Thank you. And to move on with the hands, let's get to Coco.
Hi. All right. You can hear me now. I
Yes.
just didn't mute myself the first time. Um, Thank you so much for having me on. I am both 100% FBA. Mother is from South Carolina. Father is from North Carolina. We still have our heirs property land in North Carolina. And I just want to say that I'm so proud of you guys. I want you guys to keep fighting. Our group has always been a group of resistance, and I see it in the FBAs. Keep fighting. Addressing the panel. Addressing half FBA and the bi ethnics. I'm right here with Clyburn, so I'm kind of drawn. I'm kind of torn between this, and so he's full FBA, but he does nothing for us. He's horrible. Clyburn is horrible. I'm right here in Columbia, right here with him. He throws his little fish fries, and that's all I can say he does for us. So if we were to get someone that is bi that has the charisma of Malcolm X, I will be torn between that. I understand that they do need to know their place. There is a lane for them, but I believe that they could be, if their heart is in the right place, they could be just as good as a leader. And I'm only saying that because I am here with Clyburn, and he's full, and he's the worst.
And this is something that to to follow up with what you're saying. This is something that we've been saying for the longest time, or I've been saying, in particular. Okay, it's about the agenda and where your loyalties lie. That's where it's about. That's what it's about. Where your loyalties and allegiance lie. You know, it would be foolish for me to assume that everybody, 43 million FBAs in this country, have the same allegiance. We know that's not the truth. So even we have to do um, interlineage vetting. Okay, we got to vet even within our own lineage. Okay, we can't be foolish enough to believe that if you are the descendant of American chattel slavery, then you're okay. Then you're invited to the cookout or whatever the case is. We can't do that. So we do need to have a vetting process, and that goes for any and everyone. All right. And there is a lane for bi ethnic people. And that is also the truth, too. We just got to make sure that we vet them, that they pass the screening process or whatever the case is. Now, there is a particular thing, okay, because there is a particular danger that we need to be aware of when it comes to that, a particular liability, a chance of a liability by ethnic people, so they need to be watched a little bit more closely or vetted a little bit more closely and or screened, and that's it. That's it. But this is why they fit in a certain lane, and this is why we're addressing that. Okay, not to cast them out. They don't need to automatically be cast out. Okay, we do got to take everybody by case basis, but we do have to understand also, and I'm glad you mentioned that. We do have to understand that everybody doesn't go through the same screening. Everybody gets screened, everybody gets checked, but everybody doesn't go through the same screening. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Okay.
So yeah, you're absolutely correct. Everybody got to get checked. Everybody. And thank you. Um, let's get to Gentle T. You came back up, sister. How you doing?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
And I just want to say this. Not only that, I've had some experience going outside the country. Just use the DR for an example. Just coming from over there.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you the way that my husband and I was treated by the people who looked exactly like us, that we felt like we were beneath everybody there. And we brought it was crazy because we had singles in our hands and we had it in our pocket, and our goal is to make sure we tip everywhere we go. And there was time that we were getting our food and we see people in front of us getting their food, white tea people getting their food, and they're walking past. We're getting our food, and we're handing tips. But when it's coming to the serving part, we always seen them go to them first.
Mm,
But yet still, we'll come back on the land that we build and fight for laws that to get them in the same position as at us. It
mm,
doesn't make sense. So we can't treat everybody that look like us that they are us. No. And I land there because I know you got a lot of people who want to get up.
yeah, appreciate. Yeah, we can't.
Mhm.
We can't do that. There's this thing, and thank you guys for that. There's this thing of let me see who. You came back up a second time. There's this thing of when the way they treat non-black people, in particular white tea people, is a vastly different thing. They roll out the red carpet for them. So
Never,
this is something that many of them have stated, that the red
never.
carpet, all in the Caribbean and in Africa, gets rolled out for white tea people.
Mute up, Akila. Mute up, please. There's an order. You'll be able to go after the others have
Yeah,
spoken
we got
first.
two
Go
more
ahead,
people,
Afro.
but real quick, if everybody, we're very, very close to getting 100K. Very close, very close. So let's tap the screen and let's get us to 100K likes. I would appreciate that. Thank you all very much. Let's get to Drea.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I guess I wanted to speak on or wanted to inquire about, or I guess just wanted to state, I think when it comes to bi-ethnic people, they like the exoticness that comes with being bi-ethnic. They like to say, "Oh, I'm Trinidadian," and as someone was speaking like previously, um, he had to dig deeper to find out that she was also Black American. Um, but if you notice, if you were to just treat them as a straight up Trinidadian, not recognize their Black Americanness, they would flip just like that. Like, no, 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 I'm one of you. I'm not all the way Trinidadian. What I've noticed with these people, they don't want to be treated. They want to be a special Negro. They want to be an exotic Negro. They don't want to be just a regular Black American or a complete foreign Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
They want to step up. They want what they think is a step above us, but they still want to be one of us. So what I've learned to do with people like that, both like bi-ethnic Caribbeans and Africans, I'm gonna just treat you straight like an African. Okay, you say that you want to introduce yourself as, oh, you're Nigerian. Okay, well then you're a Nigerian. I don't know you. You're a Caribbean. I don't know you. Oh, you want to come and sit over here with us? Why? You're a foreigner. You want to come over to my house on a holiday? I don't cook African food. Treat them like that, and you will watch them change. They will never mention their by ethnic side again, and that's how I've learned I call it checking them, because that's what we have to start doing. We have to start checking them, because it's absolutely disgusting that in places like New York, crucial places. New York City is it's a very crucial place. It's economic center of America. So Black Americans, we have to keep a foothold in those particular places, in those particular spaces, to maintain our capital, our cultural capital. So to have these bi-ethnic people in New York City only identifying as an immigrant, that's making us weaker. I mean, not only are you thinning our bloodline, you're taking money out of our pockets, like figuratively and literally. So I mean, like we have to start chin checking. We have to be very. We have to stand on business. That's all I have to say, and I just wanted to put that out there.
No business. Yeah, absolutely. We cannot allow them to have the privilege of being going back and forth and all of that stuff. But I will say we are to we're not going to be on too much longer, so we definitely need to. It's a need. It's a need. It's a necessity. We need to get to 100,000 likes. All right, we're 5K away, a little under 5K away. We can do that. Let's do that, y'all. Come on,
How
fam.
do I like it? How do I like it? I was meaning to ask you that. I don't know how to like it. This is
Oh,
my
tap
first
the
time
screen.
over.
You got to tap the screen, and then hearts are going to start popping up.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I was about to say I like that point that the last speaker just said. Sorry, I'm still not on camera now. I'm in the car, so ain't no point. But I do like the point that sister just brought up about basically tokenism that a lot of these bi-ethnics have. Especially, don't let them have some sort of light eyes or looser textured hair or lighter skin. They can almost give the same energy as some of these confused biracials. Especially when you see it play out when they become adults. They'll identify you check some of these people's Instagrams, and I've seen it happen in real time. Like they'll have like a flag, a different flag in their bio, but then when they speak it, when they tell you, it's like, oh yeah, I'm Black American, da, da, da. Oh, but no, I'm not just Black. I'm Guyanese, but you don't have the American flag. You're not representing that in your bio. You just only have the Puerto Rican flag, or just have this other flag. So it's like a way to make them feel like some sort of special Negro. Like, oh, I'm not really them, but like I'm them, so I can come into their spaces and come off as them. But I'm not really them for real. I'm in my own lane. So it's like, if you want to be that, then stay in your own lane. We don't get to dip in and out. I'm Black 24/7. There is no point where I'm like, oh yeah, I can hold another flag up and I'm this. You have that. So if you're not taught to at least represent both equally or represent your Americanness more, then it's certain conversations in certain spaces that you don't need to be a part of, because there's obviously going to be bias.
It's the thing of we're allowing them to kind of have one foot in and one foot out. That's the thing. They want to be ethnic and they can talk about their immigrant background, and they'll be a strong advocate for immigration and stuff like that. And then when it comes to conversations, for instance, like reparations, now they want to be able to speak on reparations and be at the forefront of a reparations conversation. But you know what I'm saying? They get to pick and choose, but they tend to lean to, or at least put on this character or persona of being a foreigner, because they think that that makes them exotic. They think that that makes them special. Or even when they claim both, they think that that makes them, like you all saying, a special Negro. You know what I'm saying? So that needs to be checked. All right, because that's been able to go on for too long, and then when you call it out, it's be like, well, no, I just love both my sides. No, we can't have that.
And we got to check that on our side too, because I definitely remember in my childhood, when I grew up in the South, it was definitely some Negroes that was pedestalizing some of these fairer skinned or different colored eyed or looser textured hair girls or even boys just because they had another flag. Oh no, they ain't black, they Puerto Rican. It's like, nigga, they mama come here dressed the same way my mama do. We come from damn near the same. They don't even know they non FBA father or they non FBA. They ain't even attached to that non FBA side, but they are so pressed to put that at the forefront of their identity, and then others attach themselves to, oh, that's they have to be better, have to be special, have to be prettier, have to be more attractive, have to be etc. because they're attached to this other flag, and that's anti-black within itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You chose the right word, the token, and I never connected that term token to bi ethnics, but that's exactly what it is. A special Negro slash they want to be a token. They want to be a token bi ethnic or a token Caribbean token. Yeah, Z, I think for me, you hit that. You hit the nail on the head for sure.
Yeah, we definitely got to do that. All of the acting as if anything non-black or anything, yeah, just essentially just the acting as if anything non-black, in particular non-black American, is just inherently better, more sophisticated, more attractive, all of these things. Okay, when people used to claim, well, my hair is like this because I'm part Hispanic, or my dad is from Puerto Rico, or my grandma is from da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? In acting as if better things or things that are seen as attractive or sophisticated have to come from something non-black, and that's what makes it better. That
Exactly.
admixture makes you better. That essentially stems from anti-blackness. Okay.
It's that Casanat thing, man, where he said, "Oh, you just black," and a lot of them feel like that. I mean, as far as bi ethics go,
Hmm.
it's like
Just black is greatness. I'm sorry.
But yeah, but let's get to, we
Black
got some more
is the
speakers though.
golden black. Like we're the golden people. All right, I'll land. I ain't gonna go off. But yeah, just black is what you just want to be. I'll land, man.
Hey, Striving is from DC, right? I'm just making sure. I put that in the comments. He ain't answer all that.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I
big.
am.
Shout out to DC. Go ahead.
Lemon, you got it.
Um, the only thing that I have to say is unification is erasure. If you guys look at it, we should have only had called for allies, because being an ally is meaning no matter what, you still, like, if something comes up, you're gonna stand with your people. When our people got unified, they had people to come and infiltrate, change of thoughts. Since they was all black, oh, they may be right. They lost the plot. Unification is pure erasure. Now you have people they don't even like us. They're with the they oh I don't like you. The black Americans, the Africans think better. They have changed our mindset. Now we have enemies amongst us. Look at the government. Everything is destroyed because we unified. Everyone profited off of us because we unified. Had we just became allies and stayed in solidarity with our own people, this wouldn't even be a topic. We're gonna have people disrespecting us because they will understand that we are a different group of people. But we don't allow them to come in our spaces, say we all black, claim our music, claim our culture, and disrespect us. They can talk down on our men, say our women are baby mamas. Unification has messed us up. And right now, I'm not unifying with nobody. I don't even want no allies right now. It's us against the world, and we got to get that motion back. And once we stand in solidarity with each other and get this thing back, maybe then we can say we can ally with each other. But the unification, that word has to go away completely when we're talking about ethnic groups.
All right. That's why I said when you come here, we have a direction. Everybody got to follow the direction. All of that we got to compromise because you guys want our interest to be, or your interest rather, to be our interest. That's not going to happen. Y'all want, when you talk about unity, y'all, what that really means is y'all want what's in y'all best interest to be our priority. And instead of y'all doing what's in our best interest, that's really what y'all want when it comes to unity. Y'all want us to advocate for better quote unquote immigration laws, which means allowing immigrants to come over here with less background and scrutiny, and with a faster pace, more benefits and set asides for you all. No, what's in your best interest is not what's in our best interest. And at this late date, we are not going to compromise what is in our best interest, nor should we ever, thus forth, compromise what is in our best interest for what's in the best interest of a foreigner. We shouldn't do that, and we won't do that. All right. Let's get to Aquila. How you doing?
Aquila,
Aquila. How you doing?
what you doing, Queen? Pick up the phone.
Your sister.
That's my sister, yeah.
Oh.
I didn't even know she was in.
Because I was
I
like,
don't
one minute, but now I see that's your sister. She might have stepped away from the phone for a minute.
She might have, yeah, because she ain't saying nothing. I'm going to text her.
Yeah, I was about to say because we're gonna wrap things up in a little bit.
We could start our final words so she get free. Then she could give her insight after if you want.
Okay, let's do that.
Let me ask Afro a question. Hey,
Mhm.
Afro, how do we move? How do we get our people to stop saying that term "people that look like us"? I want our people to learn how to say melanation more, because just because somebody has melanated skin, people keep saying these people look like us. That melanated skin don't mean you look like me. And I think when people say, and I'm not trying to target nobody, sister that brought up this term earlier, I'm not talking, I just been hearing it throughout the live. When we say somebody looks like us, I feel like we lose the plot also. I feel like that's another term that makes us lose the plot with us delineating. These people don't look like us. They have melanated skin.
Well,
And you know, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, that's just the question. Yeah, I just want our people to stop. I know it's easier to say people that look like us, but let's step our vocabulary up, get comfortable in saying, yeah, I was somewhere, and yeah, we had other people that had the same melanated skin probably, or they had melanated skin, but that look like me thing, that's what these immigrants like love for you to say, because what they compare that to is, oh, but when the white tea people look at us, they just see us all as the same. They look at us the same. They think we all look alike. That's what they say. The white tea men think we all look alike. So when we're talking about our own ethnic group, and then we turn and we say, yeah, I was somewhere, somebody that looked like me treated me bad. Like you see how you kind of give them that card, that spade card back. No, there's no books being. This all my books. You're a loser. Just because you got melanated skin, that don't mean you look like me, and that's not gonna. We have to stop. And I want that bridge to stay burnt down forever when it comes to we look the same. We don't look the same. I'll
okay.
end with
Well,
that.
let me add this onto it because which is why you guys never hear me use melanated immigrant and all of that stuff. Because the thing is that there are a lot of people who are not considered black at all who have melanin. Okay, when you get very dark skinned Indians, they are not Negro, they are not black to any degree, but they're very dark skinned. They have melanin. There are a lot of Asians that have melanin. So, in order to move things around, we have to state the reality of things that the way they are instead of the way we wish them to be. To be very honest with you, there are other immigrants that are not black whatsoever who have melanin. These people racially, these people are black, and we're going to have to acknowledge that. That's the only way to move forward. And some of them don't look like us. We can tell the difference between phenotypes. I mean, we don't look like Michael Blackston. We can already tell Michael Blackston is from Africa. We can tell a lot of them are from Africa. But to be honest, some of them do look like us. We're going to have to acknowledge that. And the thing is that that's what makes it a problem. That's why it's a problem, is because of the fact that some of them do look like us. That's what allows them to cosplay as us. That's what allows them to be such a detriment. Because the thing is that an Indian is also melanated, but an Indian can't cosplay. An Indian cannot cause the damage that they can cause, because you can easily tell, no matter how dark an Indian is, you can easily tell that, oh yeah, you're not black at all, you're not a Negro. But when it comes to maybe a Haitian, when it comes to maybe somebody who's Jamaican, maybe somebody who's from South Africa or whatever the case may be, they can cosplay, they can pass. So we do got to acknowledge the fact that them looking like us is a problem. No, not is a problem, is the reason why them being off code is such an issue. They're being them now. They don't all look like us. There is differences if you understand different phenotypes, and for people who understand different phenotypes, you can kind of spot the difference. People who study this stuff and phenotypes and genealogy, you can spot the difference when it comes to undertones and certain facial features. But for the most part, the fact that they can blend in as well as they do is the problem, and that is why what makes them be, that is why them being off code is so detrimental. That is why they're
Here's
able to
my
go into Congress and be as destructive as they are.
So and that's what I was saying, right? I think how I'll respond to that is they will only be able to look like us once they come to America, and I mean this respectfully, but no immigrant in their native land looks like us. It's only when they come to America and actually start putting on our attire, or they get a wash, they get cleaned up, they get acquiesced to our the access to food, water, and shelter, like I was saying. That's when they are able to start cosplaying better. But no immigrant in their native form looks like us. Just like us in our native form, we don't look like them. Yeah, we woke up like this. Pause. But
That's
yeah,
very true.
I land.
Yes, that's very true. Somebody brought up the fact that there was this one Indian dude who claimed that he shaved his head and portrayed himself to be a black person so he can get into college. That's been debunked. If y'all don't know that, okay, that's been debunked years ago by the college and by other people who actually looked at the documents. He did not. Can tell. You can tell. I don't care if an Indian shaves his head. You can tell that Indian is not a damn black person. Okay, even if they have dark skin, you can tell that that person lied, and the college debunked that. That's been debunked. Nobody was fooled into thinking he was a black man. All right, so let's not do that. We do not look like the damn Indians from India. We don't look like no Hindus. Okay. Um. Let's get to. Oh well. Anybody else have any closing thoughts? Wait. Do you? Are you? Are you? Oh. Okay. You're here.
I'm here. I'm definitely here. I apologize. I am making my runs to pick up my bioethnic children. So excuse my my delay, but I was in the midst of picking them up. But I just wanted to come on. First, I want to say peace to everyone on the live.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a wonderful subject. But someone who is married to a Senegalese man
Mm-hmm.
who is, if you don't know, Zizi is my younger sister. And so I am FBA. Uh, and I grew up very conscious. We grew up with in a household where my father said there was two things that would make him kill us, and that's if we brought home a white man or we joined the white man's military. That's how we grew up. My father was very clear. So I never dated outside of black men, period. My husband was the first African man I ever dated. Whenever I was looking for a husband, even if he wasn't conscious, I wanted someone who was okay with learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank God for my husband because he has been very conscious and learning about the Black American experience and how different it is from an African experience or a Jamaican experience within America. We have 5 children, and I think if you ask any one of them, they're going to tell you, I'm Black American. That's probably going to be the first thing they say. You probably have to have a few conversations with them to figure out that, oh, their dad is Senegalese. And that's because The mother is the first teacher. And if you have a mother who's conscious enough to give you the truths about being Black America in this country, my children automatically identify as that because they know Black culture. They understand Black culture. They don't live in Senegal. Even if they go there, they're going to be looked at as the Americans because they don't, hey, how you doing? They don't know, I apologize. I am a mom and I know all the parents, so forgive me. But they identify as Black American because they know this culture. And that's not to say in my house, I don't teach them to appreciate their Senegalese side and their Senegalese culture. But I'm not a Senegalese woman. So I cannot give them Senegalese culture. I can give them Black American culture. I can give them, my children know when we go in the store, don't touch nothing. Don't ask for nothing. They know that. That's Black culture. They know what a hot comb smell like. That's Black culture. They understand a Black family reunion because we go every year. Immersed in Black culture. And so I think that for at least for my standpoint in raising bioethnic children, it is all about what you teach them. I don't look at, and we don't raise them to believe that their Senegalese bloodline makes them better. I've met those type of people who believe and they lead with, oh, I'm this, I'm that, and they're only half of it because it makes them feel different. It makes them feel better than the Black American. At the end of the day, my children appreciate being Black American. They know whose shoulders they stand on. They understand that their dad wouldn't be here if he didn't stand on those shoulders. So their outlook on it is of a Black American. It's not of a Senegalese Black American, and they're first generations. And I had to remind Zero of that one day. I was like, yeah, but technically they are first generation. And she was like, wow, they are. Because that is not their experience in this life. And it's on purpose because they grow up and they benefit from the sacrifices of Black Americans on this soil. And I wouldn't dare teach them to overlook or think that anyone else's culture is better than the ones that their mother came from. And the other part of that is that we also have to look at the fact that if we were in slave times, they would be what I am. Because if the mother was a slave, guess what? Them babies were slaves too. So no matter how much the father was free, it didn't make a difference. If you was a slave and you gave birth to children, guess what? Them babies were slaves. My children know that. They understand that. And they wouldn't have gave a damn about their father being Senegalese. It don't make no difference. I own you and I own them babies too. They my property. And until we get a clear understanding, because see, they try to erase the history. But if you look at the history, they made it very clear on who was a Black American. They made it very clear on who their slaves were. They made it very clear. And so we don't have to look far to figure it out. We know. You got to tap in with your with your lineage. Tap in with your great grandmother. I know I did. I thank God I did. So that my father always taught us, the mother is the first teacher. And so I look at a lot of people who have, especially a mother, and I know the brother talking earlier, and he was saying, the girl that was saying she's Trinidadian, her mother was Trinidadian. So the mother taught her Trinidadian culture. So that's what she knows. That's what she leads with. Unless she had a father that was dynamic, like mine,
who made a stance and made a held a tier for us to aspire to, and made it very clear who we are and made us proud of who we are, then of course she's going to deny that part of herself until it's cool. So it all depends on the person, but I definitely believe and know for myself and in my household and in my family, my children walk out into this world on this soil right here where they have lineage and they have bloodshed. They walk out every day and they know they're Black American. And that's no denial of their Senegalese heritage, and we don't put it down. But maybe I would feel differently if I was raising them in Senegal. I don't know. But raising them here, where my fifth great grandfather fought in the Civil War, yeah, they walking out the door as Black Americans. That's how we do it.
All right. Like, and this is just to follow up with what we're saying. It's all about the allegiance. All right, Zizi, I know you wanted to say something.
First of all, I had no idea we had a grandfather that fought in the Civil War. I don't know why I feel like that's the first time I heard you say that. I need to know more about that immediately. Second of all, of course, I mean, I already knew. Two of my sisters are married to non-FBA men. So this is not a conversation of that. We ain't had plenty of times before. But she's right. You know, my nieces and nephews from her and her husband. First of all, her husband is cool people, number one. But number two, her children definitely do understand the differences of their father's community and ours, and them being here, the connection that they have here because of their mother. So yeah, but again, I respect things like that. It's just that's not something I would want to sign up for, and I don't think that's something that most foundational Black Americans should be signing up for. It's having to make another layer to have to show example or teach your children combating something. Like, we're already under this system, especially in America. There's too many things to combat, even as children. I don't want to have to add on another layer within the household. Like, yeah, and also your daddy might be, and when his mother come over, she might meet it like this. She really ain't, but she good people. So it's like, that's not something that I think most FBAs should have to. We should be with each other. Period. But again, if you're going to do that, like my sister is doing, you got to be on code, man. You got to be real with your children. You got to be real with the realities of the Black American experience and how that's in comparison to non-FBAs. So yeah, it's a real reality.
Zizi, you need to get more of your family in the prompt. We already had two of your sisters. We
I
need the
got
rest
the
of the
research
siblings. Come
for
on
you.
now. We
I
got to
got
have a
the
whole
research.
family reunion. All right, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. Let's be on code and let's have these are the tough conversations that we need to have. Okay, because we need to really get some order established. Okay, to find out where people need to be, what allegiances do people need to have, and then where we need to go forward. We need to be forward thinking people. So this has been a really good live so far. This has been a really good live, and I appreciate everybody who's been here and been respectful. We have some trolls in the room, but that's been, it happens. It happens. But let's get to the next couple of speakers, and then we can start wrapping things up. All right. So let's get to too much.
What's going on, panel? What's going on, Afro Elite? What's going on with you, brother?
How you doing, brother?
Good, good, good. Yeah, I actually agree with the sister that was speaking, man. I think everything is about the Black consciousness. As long as you're preaching and teaching Black consciousness to your children, that is what's going to give them that resilience. That's what's going to give them that cultural understanding. And that's what's going to make them foundational Black Americans. And if we do decide to take on allies, that is what's going to be the commonality, is that Black consciousness. The Black consciousness is what's going to liberate us all. So I agree with that. If I don't care if you got, I can bring up Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle's a foundational Black American, but he have Eritrean lineage. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But he has the Black consciousness to back it up. Malcolm X, he has the Black consciousness to back it up. Farrakhan, he has the Black consciousness to back it up. Those are allies. Those are foundational Black Americans. Those are people that we know love us and put us first. If we can't police who you marry, who you date, who you choose to fall in love with. Those things. I mean, should you be with the foundational Black American? Yes, that's number one. That's everything. I think moving forward, we understand that, but we can't go back in the past and break families up because they had no understanding of what they're walking into now. We now have the understanding of what it is and what on code really means. So now moving forward, we make sure that we're on code. If you're a woman who's married to an African, if you're married to a Jamaican, you make sure your kids understand that they get that Black conscience and they understand the dichotomy of the two. You have to teach it. You have to let them understand, no, hey man, you are a foundational Black American. This is where your lineage comes from. You are connected to this soil. And no one can remove you because there's going to be FBAs who are going to try to tell your kids they're not FBA. And that's just wrong, right? So they have to know, they have to have that lineage to stand on. They got to have that Black consciousness to stand on. They got to have that community that to back them up. So when people do come off and say things off code, the code will just hit them upside the head every time. So that's what it's all about. So I agree with the sister. As long as you're teaching your kids, and even if you're a father and you're married to a woman who might be of African or Caribbean descent, your job as the father is to instill Black consciousness in your children. Teach them where their lineage come from, especially when they're being raised on this soil, on this land.
Thank
This
you.
is what you teach them, and that's it.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel like this is the biggest point of the matter. Um, you
Afro,
know,
can I please be the
hold on,
controversial
brother. Hold
voice in the
on.
room
Hold
and
on.
give it back?
Hold on.
All
Uh,
right.
this is the biggest point of the situation is, the agenda. Where is your allegiance? Who is your allegiance to? Who are you loyal to? What are you loyal to? What cause do you serve? Because we can't, it's foolish for us to pretend as if, somebody being half FBA or full FBA automatically determines their allegiance. It does not. You know what I'm saying? So we got to verify people's allegiances. Now, we do have to be a little bit more careful when it comes to people who are foreigners. That is the truth. But we have to understand, like you said, the thing is about consciousness. It's about you, who your loyalty, what your cause in this life is, in this world is. All right. So as long as we go with that as our base and our foundation and we layer everything else on top of that, we'll be good. Striving, you wanted to say something real quick. I'll give you about 30 seconds and then we'll get to Ladala.
Well, no, okay. So what I want, but like what I was going to say was, this is the reason why I kind of made the correlation between people who are biracial and bi-ethnic, because normally when you come across parents who are parents of biracial children, they want, it's kind of like of a imposing thing where they want their children to be accepted as full. I've come across this. They want their children to be accepted as full Black, even though that they're clearly biracial, because they don't want, because of the, I've been around people who got the jokes, you know what I'm saying, the biracial jokes like that, and the parent will feel some kind of way. So my question would be, so okay, because you acknowledge, so because you see your children as one as Black American, it should is, do we all have to do that?
Here's the thing. Here's the
Is
thing.
that something that's like, is that something that's supposed to be imposed on all of us, that we all are supposed to see your kids this way, and if we don't, then somehow we're some kind of bad people or something like that, because we see your children as bi-ethnic, and but you see them as being Black American?
Okay. I mean, I don't think that that's what she was saying. I don't think she was saying that. I
Okay,
think
well
she
And
then
I
was
don't
saying
think she's
that
saying
as
that, but
if
I
far
do
not,
as
see
I
their
what he's
apologize.
saying.
That's
values
why I
and
took
their
the situation.
upbringing.
You know
I
what I'm
don't think she
saying?
was
Because
saying that, but I
it's
do
not.
think that's what
Let,
I do understand what he was saying though, for sure. If you got bi-ethnic children, I think even if they do identify with the Black American experience more, they should always make it clear that they have a non-FBA parent. I think that should always be a part of their initial identity. Like when they're introducing themselves, it's like, yeah, I'm FBA, but my father is from Guyana, my father is from Jamaica, but da da da. Or I have a non-FBA. It should be clarified for sure.
Yeah, they
right,
should be
I'm not saying
codified.
that this is disrespectful. Like, I've never met any person who was foreign or about or whatever and treated them with anything less than respect. As you don't disrespect me, I'm not going to disrespect you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But once again, it's that imposing thing where because you see your kids a certain way, okay, is that something that's supposed to be imposed on all of us? You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no,
And
no.
that's okay. All right.
Okay. La Dollar, you got it. Okay, well, I guess you don't.
Afro.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
nah.
What is up
I,
with the delay, brother? Come on.
my fault, my fault. I just wanted to say real quick when you was talking about the bi-ethnic people trying to stunt with saying that they got they hair good because they got this other person in their family or they from here. We used to say we got Indian in our family, and you know why we used to say that? Because we native to the land. A lot of people used to hate on us when we used to tell people that. Used to be like, "Yo, my shit good because I got Indian in my family." But now that this is coming out and FBA is recognizing who we are, a lot of people, more people is gonna start respecting that. So that I just wanted to say that and land right there.
Well, even when we used to say that, because that is something that we've heard or whatever the case is, when we used to say that, that even stemmed from a little bit of anti-blackness. If we're going to tell the truth about that, because when we used to say that, we used to say that and speak on non-blackness because that's before we was identifying or recognizing Indians as being black. We would recognize them as being others, and we would speak on our Indian side as if that was the more exotic or attractive side. So if we was to speak on our hair and someone was to compliment it, we would give the credit to the non-black side. Or if somebody was to compliment our skin or facial features, we would give the credit to those things to our non-black side. So even that alone is it stems from a little bit of anti-blackness that we have to recognize and divorce ourselves from. You know, because we and the thing is that they were black natives. I mean, at this point in time, everybody should know that. If you don't, you're very behind. They were black natives. All right. Black is different depending on where you find black. Black in the Caribbean is different from black in Africa. Black in the Americas is different from black in Africa and the Caribbean. But black is great. Black is beautiful. All right. And we should not associate positivity with things that are non-black or things that we perceive to be non-black. All right.
Hey, Afro, can I say one thing also? And I also don't mean this in any disrespect either. Um, but just how the sister at the bottom said, back in slavery days, because she has the womb of the Negro woman, then that child will be considered a Negro also.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular point, that is the reason why I would never call her kids first generation, because they came out of her womb, which is 15, 20 generations here. So to stay consistent, that's everything. I'll see you next time. Um, that's why I would not allow that first generation term to be placed on her kids, because she is the one teaching the kids and they came out of her womb. I just want to make that point and I land right there.
All right. Certain people see it differently, and it's okay. We're having a respectful adult conversation. All right. We'll get to delineationists unless you want to respond to that because.
Like, I kind of agree though. It's like, would they be like half first gen? Because technically they not. Like first gen, you think first gen, you think two non-FBA parents who just had an anchor baby type shit. So it's like, I mean, yeah, I see what he's saying.
Yeah, nah, it's a little to me. I
Can I
like to
make a
keep
comment
things.
on that?
Hold
Yeah, I
on,
like
hold
to keep
on.
things consistent.
I'm gonna let her give a comment if
Oh
she's
yeah,
if
yeah, yeah.
she's available. She can give a comment on that. Okay, I guess she's not available.
Yeah.
Then okay.
Finding the Z. Yeah, so Z, this is for me and you. Like that womb is precious, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's what's making Black Americans majestic right now. This is why the Black American lineage is standing on genealogy business. It's because we came out of a Black American womb. like that womb I popped out of, that womb was or has been passed down generation to generation. It it's and I think that should be respected. And I'm no feminist, you feel me? I mean, yeah, like, but I respect our women. I respect what that womb and the mother of that womb had to go through, because what they say is, right, the grandmother already had her grandchildren. They would say the egg that was inside of the grandmother, that egg was already being able was already able to produce the egg of the grandchild. So I just think this important to respect the womb of the Black American woman. And so putting a first generation title on something that came out of her, out of that majestic womb, would do a disservice. So if you come out of a Black American womb, I definitely will not give you a first generation title. But vice versa, if your mom is the is the is the migrant, then yeah, you probably then that's up to your dad to make sure that he's staying on lineage business while while growing you up and making sure that you put on right. But I land with that.
I think the reason why I said first generation is because I respect my husband. No matter how, I don't leave my household. And I respect my husband and I respect his perspective as a man who knows whose backs he stands on over here. He's very clear that without the Black American fight, he doesn't get here. And so because of that, I do respect it because he allows me, as the leader of our home, he allows me the space to teach my children to appreciate my heritage and me being Black American and what we bring to the table. Not a lot of Africans do that. You know, once they find out I'm educated or things of that nature, then it's like, oh, the token Black American, you know. But otherwise, they look at you, with a, like you're one of them, And so I do know for a fact that if we were in 1862, for sure, my children will be slaves. My husband could be a Black monk from Senegal here and free. And at the end of the day, me and my children will be slaves. And that's why I made that very clear and highlighted that, because that's an important factor. So when I come from that perspective, this is why my children don't lead with, oh, we're first generation. They won't even say that. They will tell you, oh, I'm Senegalese. My dad is Senegalese, but my mom is Black. And so I consider myself Black American. But I make it very clear to them that there is a duty they have to Black Americans and a duty they have to their father, because he left his culture. He left to come over here to benefit from our culture. Yes, he did. And he respects that. And he holds a great deal of gratitude for us as Black Americans and what we've gone through in this country and what we've built here in this country. And so I do let them know, yes, you are under him. You are first generation. But at the end of the day, when the police pull you over, they're not going to give good goddamn about you being a first generation nothing. They're not going to give a good goddamn about you being a half Senegalese anything. What they're going to see is a Black, and 9 times out of 10 think you Black American.
You muted. I don't know what happened.
We got to be careful with the
It's a
distinction.
hard,
Because a lot of
it's
people use the
very,
police thing. I see what y'all want to deter from the conversation, but the police thing, them niggas know the difference between non and being. They don't just see Black. They see
well,
Black. But then they see that
might
ID
know,
and see
they might know
unto
the
day.
difference, but
They
I'm
like, that
telling
ain't
you,
no Black American. That ain't no
for
nigga. So
my
they know.
children, I'm saying for my children, for Usman, they would know the difference. They would
For
know the
Usman, they
difference.
probably they see his last name. And
They
Usman, but
they
I
they
don't want to.
do,
I
but
don't want
most,
to
let
get. I
me
don't want
tell
to
you,
get to the start.
most,
But some of them.
most, but I'm being honest, ZZ,
think she cut out. But all I was saying was we got to be careful with that conversation because they do understand the distinctions. You know, my nephew who she was bringing up, yes, he does look FBA, and he even they in New York and New Jersey, so they sound FBA. But there is still distinct. Even so, that's not. I mean, I don't want to say. I mean, not dox you, but their last name. You look at the last name. I know that's not FBA. So there are distinctions to tell.
No,
Like,
well, I
nah, you
mean,
not. Are you from here?
that's no. What I'm saying is, ZZ, is that yes, they might look at it and say they might not. Most Americans do not realize by their last name. Now, Africans, yes, when they look at their last name, they automatically know the tribe that they're from. Most
Yeah.
Americans don't say to me based on their last name, oh, where are they from? They don't know that. Africans do know that because they're taught that. They know from that. I've had Africans
Yeah, that's
from
true.
different countries know the exact tribe my children are in based on their last name. Most Americans do not know that.
That's
I
true.
didn't know that until I married someone, and I'm able to recognize it a lot more. But they don't have a very ethnic last name. Their last name is Sao. Most of them, I've had a white woman say to me, "Oh, are they French? Are you from do you have Louisiana roots?" That's what I've had happen
Oh,
before.
that's true
I
too.
have had
That's
that
true.
happen
Yeah, that's
because
true.
they have a French last name. So their last name is not like a very long African last name. So it's not they're
So
I'm
so they last.
speaking
So
from
what
a
you saying? They
perspective
last
that
name is
Stop,
is
not
stop,
a
nope,
little
let
Oti.
her go,
different.
Oti.
let her go.
Go ahead, Quinn.
Yeah, there's that my perspective. I'm saying for my children. Now, most others they have very African or very ethnic names and that are very distinct. When an average dumb police officer pull over my son, they not gonna know that. They wouldn't. They gonna think he a black boy from America unless they have some sort of education and have had some sort of encounter. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. And that's not always the case, but my case is a lot different than a lot of others because a lot of other people have very African or very Caribbean last names where you can say, oh yeah, they got something else in them. My children do not have that. They don't.
Nah, yeah, that's true though. But again, for the bi-ethnics who that does apply to, which is I'm gonna just go ahead and say the majority, or at least a good portion of it, close to half, if not half, a little over half, because I can usually tell when somebody ain't from here for sure, especially as an adult. Whether it's the name, whether it's the way they talk, act, hairline, it's a lot of different distinctions we go by. We can tell your ass ain't from here, all right? So there are ways to tell, but I do agree though. The black consciousness is the thing that matters the most. So yeah, I feel it.
All right, I'm glad we was able to have that dialogue. That was it was calm conversation. It does add it adds a lot to the conversation. That was good. That was good. My brother delineationist is in here, and then we'll start wrapping things up for real. I just really like the way a lot of people were having pretty mature, respectful takes and back and forths, but we do have to conclude this, so we'll get to delineationists, and then we'll officially wrap things up.
I'm going to say sorry about the late entry on this, but I definitely want to comment on it. Addressing half FBAs, I don't think you could be half of anything. Either you full or you're not. I think that they belong to a whole nother group called the people of color. They belong to another house, if you get what I mean. You don't have stallions and zebras running together, do you? In the natural. So why on earth are they running with us when they're not full? That's kind of the aspect that I come from because I have black mothers, I have a black father, I have black grandparents, and etc. Right? So I don't know anything outside of that experience. When they start becoming this bi-ethnic, they start pushing their isolated incidents onto the collective group, which could sway a group of people, which I feel is very, very dangerous and divisive, right? Because they could sit here and be amongst us, but at the same time deter the direction of the group of people, or say that well, white tea supremacy don't exist, or we don't need no reparations, like Barack Obama and all these other things that they have pulled, right? And these
Mm,
are from biracial people. Even though we might not consider Barack Obama of the lineage, rightfully so, but this individual have used his skin proximity and different things to play into the bi-ethnic situation
hmm
and
I
to
just,
harm our community.
for a little bit of specification, we're speaking on, and we've clarified that we're speaking on bi-ethnic people. So this would be in the same racial category as black, as far as as far as the prompt goes, because we understand that you can be bi-ethnic and biracial, but being bi-ethnic doesn't automatically mean that you are biracial. Okay, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's just that the things is like the individuals that are bi-ethnic that are a part of our lineage,
Hmm.
they'll some of the people I hear them say they speak disparagingly about our community, saying that we reject them, this, that, and the third. When it's mostly 9 out of 10, it's the dominant culture that's rejecting them based off their skin color and their ethnicity and what's in their bloodline. It's not normally the black person or the Negro people that's being biased to them. That's not always the case. We might make little jokes about it, but we're not preventing them to go to the barbecue because we know that's family at the end of the day. We're not preventing them in other ways to undermine them and to harm them as a people. Where the dominant culture, they might harm your child or harm a child that might be by ethnic or biracial. Those are the things that I have observed. So the thing is that they use their proximity to always talk. Some of them to always talk negative about the Black American experience. That's the reason why I don't really address them as being a part of the lineage like that. I can also look at it from a historical sense when it comes to the census, right? During the census, I think of 1800s or something like that, they went off the people that were biracial and bi-ethnic and stuff of that nature. They broke away from just regular old Negroes with the intentions of basically being like a buffer class. So these are some of the things that have historically has happened. That's why you got the Blue Vein Society and all these other crazy things that these light skins and biracials and octoroons engage in with the sole purpose to get them to be closer to whiteness, not closer to us as being black. You have the exceptions like your man Malcolm X, but he married right. That means he got himself a black American woman because he knew what was, and that's the exception. He's not the rule, and I'm tired of people using that standard as the exception. That all these bi ethnics and biracials act in that manner when that's not always entirely the case.
Mm.
So we gotta understand that when somebody's on our side that's exceptional, treat them as such, but they're not the rule, and we need to move as such. So that's just where I'm at when it comes to these mix-ups and other things of that situation.
Well, all right. All right. There we go. There we go. Thank you all. If you guys want to listen to the playback of this live and the other lives that we have, great content, wonderful content. Okay. Go to For the Culture on YouTube. You can go to the For the Culture page. That's the official For the Culture TikTok page. Go to that page, go to the link in the bio, and then you can go to follow all of the social media on that For the Culture page. Also, follow the For the Culture page. You know what I'm saying? Let's follow the For the Culture page and then go to the link. Follow on YouTube. You can listen to this playback, the playback of other good conversations that we've had. A lot of great stuff, a lot of wonderful stuff on For the Culture. Also, oh, there you go. There you go. All
Finally
right.
talked, my bad.
Okay. Okay. So let's do this the official way then. Let's do this right. Okay. Hold on.
I get my life right.
Oh look, she got the whole light and everything. All right, that's okay. Shit. All right. Okay. So, yeah. Also, me and ZZ both have our own individual YouTube pages. Okay, that's Afro Elite on YouTube, and then ZZ Rants on YouTube. All right. So the links are in our bio to that and then the rest of our social media. So you guys want to go over there. We talk about the same thing. We go in depth on a lot of different topics on that. So you guys want to follow all three on YouTube, subscribe to all three on YouTube, and then you can follow our own individual TikTok pages and social media. All right. And I want to thank you all again for all of the likes, all of the gifts, all of the comments, everything. You guys have been great. Thank you. Aziz, did you want to have any closing statements?
Closing statements. We love our bi-ethnic family. All right. The Black American diaspora, as BX said, is still a part of our culture, still a part of us. Okay. So this live was not too down by ethnics to make y'all feel like y'all wasn't, y'all like family, y'all still family. Okay. But you got to be on code. You got to check the anti-blackness from the other cultures you may be a part of at the door. Okay. Especially if you want to represent us, if you want to speak and be heard in certain spaces, especially when it comes to our politics or economics, things of that nature. You have to understand your position, how people will see you, the dual allegiances that you may have as well, and how that may deter from your allegiance to us, and how people may perceive that. So yeah, you just have to be on point, be one, and put your ego to the side, because I know some people, at least with usually it's the problem with biracials, they act like, oh, I'm not good enough for this and too good enough for that, and there's no place for me, and there's I'm just my own person. And it's like, there's a way for you to still be in your own lane and still be connected to the culture, especially if you're trying to make foundational Black American culture the forefront of your identity. There's a way for you to do both. There's a balance you can have. But you got to first be honest with yourself and be honest with about the things that may have been instilled with you from each side of your ethnicity. But yeah, that's all. Shout out to that by ethnics on code. And thank you for the gifts and everything, chat.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. All right, yeah, that was well said. Thank you. All right, BX, please close us out.
Yes. So I gotta ask you, when's the next time you're coming live on TikTok?
I want to do it tomorrow.
Same time?
More than likely, yeah.
Can I give you my recommendation?
Yes, please.
I liked this time. We weren't rushed. Everything seemed to flow nicely. And now I get a moment to breathe before somebody else goes live, or if you go live later on YouTube. So I like this time slot, but ultimately it's up to you. Did you like the topic? Because I suggested it last night.
Yeah, I think the topic was really good. We've been kind of floating this topic around. We've been kind of like putting a pin in the topic, but the subject has come up in multiple conversations. So thank you for the suggestion. It was about time we addressed this.
So I want to say I don't know how things got so muddied with them identifying as us. So I've been poking around trying to get new article ideas, and one thing I did see was that even when we were called Negro, they had Negro of U.S. heritage, like American born, and then they had Negro of foreign heritage, right? The first generationers were termed Negro U.S. born with foreign parentage. But for some reason now, that's a form of delineation or disaggregation. Somewhere along the line, things got conflated, muddied, and all this other stuff, and these people are identifying as us. We need things to. So if you want to be in alignment, I noticed from the chat, y'all have to listen to understand and not be contrarians. Certain topics you just should want to know, because if you're in America, you could or could not fall in love with a foundational Black American, and vice versa. So again, this wasn't to disparage by ethnics. This was to gain an understanding, because some of them do come to me. If you saw the comment, one bi-ethnic said, "Is this about me?" And I was like, "No, I do have bi-ethnic children, and my best friend has a great grandparent that is West Indian." So these are new things that's coming to our light, and we are having these discussions with our families off these apps. So it was good to bring it on the app. And thank you, everybody. So love, peace, and reparations to my foundational Black Americans. And Afro, you can tell me what time tomorrow you would want to go live. I do suggest this time slot again. Yeah.
This was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this time slot too.
Yeah,
Let's second that.
pretty good. I just kind of, I was floating around because we used to do real late, and then we started to kind of do earlier. So I'm kind of just trying to move the audience when I do it, kind of moving the audience towards an earlier time slot. And then, the algorithm can kind of pick up live differently. So we might have, you know, more people at night than we do here. But the way things went today was pretty good. We had a lot of people here pretty good at this time. So I think it's pretty good. I think I like this time slot. I do. I do.
All right.
Okay.
With that being said, family, thank you all so very much. Again, make sure you guys follow on For the Culture. Okay, go to For the Culture, go to the official For the Culture page, go to YouTube on For the Culture, subscribe, listen to everything, subscribe to all of and follow all of the other social media stuff. Go to me and ZZ's profile, follow us on everything, and if you go to the For the Culture thing, you can find our stuff on that.